This is a compliment to you. Glasses don't work for you, and that means you look great without them.
Probably gonna have to wear.
I was going to say, that was a dick move.
Age finds us all.
Could you rank your most favourite to least favourite, the people that we play with?
We'll do a list episode.
We should do that. That's a great idea.
Play the things that make me uncomfortable.
Have you heard about naked children in a Mac?
You're the glue.
I'm the gateway drug, which can be glue sometimes.
I meant you're the one that binds everyone together.
Oh shit! Yeah, gotcha.
It's a shiny butt.
It's a shiny toned butt.
It is. It's a tight butt.
You're a simple man who likes simple things.
Very much so.
That's a compliment, by the way.
Welcome to Back Pocket for Thursday, the 11th of February. Tonight on the show, we talk about games we've played in the past. We look forward to the games we want to play in the future. But let's talk about the now, because I'm joined by...
Gus, who's trying out a new casual pose.
There's a dog at his feet.
Yeah, that's the reason that I have to sit like this. Next to me
Is Steph, who is so bright she's blinding.
And here's Peter, who's ready to roll. Just really tearing in right at the last minute here.
He never thinks of a thing to say.
I've got nothing interesting to say.
He has the most on at the last minute, so yeah. It's excusable that you come in here and do a dad grade.
And I have a beer.
Funny.
I always just talk about my t-shirt, so it's pretty boring.
That's true. Every single time I'm wearing this today.
Well, that's because I wear tracksuit pants all day, every day of my life. And when I get to put on a brightly coloured t-shirt for all of you, it's an event. Okay?
It is high vis level.
I'm having fun.
Here.
The awful thing was Gus and I turned up today, and I came in dressed spectacularly. And Gus looked at me and goes, oh no. Because you were going to wear the same thing.
I have one new brightly coloured T-shirt. You may have seen it if you caught it on the playback. I was wearing a new...
You look very good in it.
Well, no, there's comments. There's comments underneath. They're like, Gus, you look good in this colour. And I was really anxious about wearing that T-shirt because it's super bright and it is this aquamarine kind of look.
So many comments about how good you look in that colour.
But are you ready for like triple level insecurities?
It's not me, it's everyone else saying it.
They've said nice things, but here's where the insecurity comes from. It's a T-shirt for a charity. So it's also kind of like, if people are like, oh, it's not really a good T-shirt colour for you, I'm like, well, it's for a charity. It's like, that's
right, that's
I
your
got
excuse.
it as a donation.
That's your safety net.
Yeah, I thought if this colour doesn't work on me, they'll look at it and be like, oh, it's actually for a good cause.
Did you get it? Wait.
I got it because
Like Nick's is for the Panthers.
Yeah, they need
nice.
money. They're only a multi-million
What's that? Is that a tick of you go get 'em, Panthers?
Tick for support done.
That's the you get a tick for every meal you donate to starving
Panthers?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Speaking of animals with some sort of human feelings, a big shout out to Haughty Chicken, who says, first time here, how have I not been here before? I don't know, but welcome.
I have a
welcome,
mission
Haughty.
every week to go through comments of things that I've posted to people saying, hey, I really miss Good Game. And then I'm like, why don't you check out this awesome new show on Twitch? And they're like, what? So the word's got to get out there, and it can't just be me on Facebook.
No. I need to be schooled on the idea. Is haughty a word or is it naughty with a typo?
Haughty is a word, and it means like
I've never
and kind of cross.
Yeah, right.
You know,
I feel like I've heard it. I just haven't heard it in a...
People have said it about you.
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
Am I haughty?
like, put you and Pete together and that's haughty.
Yeah.
Like, if I were to write it in a sentence, I'd be like, that colour doesn't look as good on you as you think, Gus, she said haughtily.
Or she sniffed haughtily. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. It's a rich person's word. I'm surprised you didn't come across it on a boat somewhere.
As am I.
Yeah.
Incredulity.
I believe that's just naughty with an incredulity in front of it. Welcome, everybody, to the show. We're excited to have you back for another week of Back Pocket action. I am just excited that we are actually live because Peter Burns...
Are we? Can we check that?
Haughty Chicken, can you see us?
Oh, Gus, no feet on the table, mate.
Room. I'm going to have to do this just for a moment. I
Steph, can you
apologise.
say something haughtily to him?
And please don't even make it as an example about what I'm wearing because it's really getting to me.
Oh, God.
On Monday, we went live with the news. And to not make it too boring, we go live out of our software into another piece of software that's online called Restream. And then we use Restream to send that broadcast back across to Twitch or YouTube or wherever we're streaming at the time. And if you don't refresh the restream page, sometimes there's a little toggle and it's just like, go. You send the little go button, and the toggle was on, and I was like, we're live. So we did the first 2 or 3 minutes of the show, and I was like, we're not live.
I was halfway through a very cogent point about the first story.
Yeah.
So it was like a decent chunk.
Yeah, we'd done our intros. We'd done exclamation mark Tim's in the chat, and I was like, no one's spamming Tim in the chat.
Yeah.
Are we live?
Yeah.
We weren't.
It was terrible because you also did that thing where you're just like, Nick, stop. Sorry, we're not live. And it's that thing of like
you were a freight train.
I was like on a roll, and I was just like, well, the energy's gone.
It was like back in TV days when we were like recording for an hour, and then it's just like something was wrong with the tape or whatever, and we're like, that's a joke, right?
And no shit.
Joke.
Tape.
Tape or sound goes like, we
Sound.
were having problems with that. Like, sound's got crackle, or we can't use any of that.
People had a backup for that, but sometimes.
Yeah.
People used to say, hey, why don't you upload these in like 4K? Tape.
That's a big fucking tape.
And I was like,
Well, I feel like I should add to that is I was out of the state when you guys did the news, so I got to listen to it in podcast form, which we'll talk about a bit later. And while listening to it, I got to say, I was like, tight intro, blokes. Like, that was...
Yeah, it was because it was our second pass.
Because it was your second pass. I was like, they were just like rolling through it. Everything was there. They had it.
It was almost like they'd done it before.
Absolutely.
There we go. So the illusion is ruined.
There you go. But what is not ruined is this smooth segue
I was just about to say, I was going to go for the segue.
into our sponsor for the evening, because we're excited that we get to kick off another year by being a PS Plus partner. It's very exciting that we get the opportunity to be a PS Plus partner. I think it's called Partner. This week, we are happy that we are continuing our partnership with Sony. Every month, Sony PlayStation Plus give players a collection of free games to download and keep. And this month, they've got some bangers. I mean, there are generally bangers every month. There was one dud month. We don't talk about that month. The rest of those months.
And that was years ago.
Years
Since there was
ago.
a dud month.
It was back at the Vita days. But now it's just...
No one wanted flour.
Flour was great. You shut your mouth about
He's
flour.
spelling Flour.
Oh, yeah, that was a poor
a disaster.
choice. To just send everyone flour? Sony, why would you do that? But this month, they're giving you some of the real good stuff. You get Control Ultimate Edition, you get Concrete Genie, and you get Destruction All-Stars as a PS Plus member. I can vouch for all three of these games.
Oh, I have, especially like Concrete Genie. I mean, it's a game probably for younger gamers, but that was like a game that I just found so creatively
It's beautiful. Yeah.
wonderful.
We followed it around for like 3 years. That game. It was like an E3 and then a PlayStation event, and then we saw it together in San Francisco.
We
and it
interviewed
was
one
like,
of the lead devs on it and just kind of like fell in love with it. We were a bit delusional at E3, but it was really lovely, and they just had such genuine kind of like emotion behind the development. Because it's a kid, not kid game, but it's like it deals with all kind of like a very distraught child in an environment where he uses that as an escape. It's beautiful.
But also, it just like it gives you tools to be creative without having to rely on artistic talent. You can't make anything ugly in that game.
Yeah,
so true.
It's just beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a solid choice. Control, I don't need to say anything about Control. Fantastic game. One of my favorite games, actually, to come out in the last few years. And then Destruction All-Stars. We do have things to say about that, and we'll say those things in the next segment. But all those games are yours if you're a PS Plus member. But that's not all, because if you are a PS Plus member, you actually get a collection to the PS Plus collection. Did I say collection to the PS Plus collection? I meant access to the PS Plus collection.
There you go.
A library of some of the best titles available from the PS4 on your PS5. So if you have a PS5 and you've got PlayStation Plus, these games are sitting there ready for you to redeem and download for freezies. They're included in part of your subscription. My personal picks are these: Bloodborne, God of War, the remake one, Persona 5, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Uncharted 4 A Thief's End, and Until Dawn. Come on. The good version of A Little Hope.
Yes, totally.
I think I want to replay that game.
It's so much fun.
It was so much fun.
I've installed Resi 7
Nice.
because I think we're keen to play that in the lead up to Village.
Yes, we are.
I accidentally booted it up from the menu and I got scared. So it's sitting there ready for me to go.
very scary menu.
And I've installed God of War as well because I've heard that runs natively 4K and 60 FPS. So both the nice things that you had to access in the PS Pro version, PS4 Pro, you now get together. And the reports I'm hearing is spectacular. Already what is a
Did you
stupidly...
play it?
I played maybe the first third and I put it down at a point criminally.
Really, it's such a you game.
I tried to pick it up and get back into it, and it was one of those kind of like, I've forgotten everything that's happening here. So that's a good reason to replay it, and a perfect reason to pick it up again.
So if you do need a recap of the first 3 hours, boy. There you go.
I thought that was directed at me.
No, that's it. So thank you very much to PlayStation for sponsoring Back Pocket. We are excited to be a PlayStation Plus. Did I say
Partner?
Partner.
That's a competition.
That's the word I was looking for.
Have you said, what was it, competition yet?
There's no competition.
No, I can't remember what the word you said was that you repeated.
Oh, I said collection.
Have you said collection yet?
Collection.
Thank you.
There you go.
Well, luckily we're not going live on any of this, so we can get it all right.
We'll get on the retake. It'll be fun.
It'll
Much smoother. Much
tighter
smoother.
intro, yeah.
Perfect.
Should we jump into the business?
Business.
Jump into the business. Because I'm just saying, let's talk about a gaming week. And I'm just saying, what you all been playing? You threw me off. Brought to you by Brett Jones, aka
Sucked him out.
LokiCat. We'll talk about what just happened there in a second. LokiCat, of course, one of our most beloved sponsors, with us from the beginning. Phenomenal human being. Incredibly generous when it comes to donating to the show and to the viewers. It makes it rain subs like it's some sort of PG strip club.
Great guy, solid guy.
Genuinely lovely human being, but also too much of a coward to send in a picture of himself dressed as a cat. So I'm just saying, the ball's in your court now, LokiCat.
The ball of yarn is in your court. Bat that
Well, that's the
thing around.
problem, He's just batting it around.
Right,
No
that
time
is
to
the
take
problem.
photos.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, we say nothing but positive things, and then when his ad comes up, you're like, do you guys hate him?
Yeah.
And that could only come from a place of pure love for LokiCat as a super top
Though I will
patron.
say, he contacted me last week and he said, if you're ever considering doing another ad, I've got more pictures and I can give you more personal information.
You had my
The saga continues.
you had my curiosity, now you have my attention.
He's just building a defamation lawsuit.
He totally
There could be a total twist to this story, and the pictures that he sent isn't actually LokiCat at all.
Oh,
but someone else.
that would actually...
That
would be a very Raj move.
He could start doing a slam campaign. We could have an actual political
Is there a
hate.
slam campaign?
I was like, what
Like
they say?
slam dancing?
Like slam
Do you mean a
dancing.
smear campaign?
campaign, slush fund.
That's how you
could have
pay
a
for your smear
cam-
campaigns.
Yeah, smear campaign on someone else, and we could run ads back and forth and see who wins some kind of LokiCat mortal enemy election.
I would like to start making commercials for some of our patrons where it settles petty disputes within their family, so that they constantly have an argument with a parent or an uncle or a partner or something, and we just make a commercial supporting their position that then they just play out in the middle of a fight.
We can
Very
do
nice,
that. We can do that for you.
Yeah, we
That's
can provide
something-
it.
If that's something that you want.
Provide
We're not licensed professionals, but
which
we'll
is
give
why
it a shot.
we should do it.
And in order to get that, there is one more 250 tier patron slot available because one got snapped up by Reese.
Hey!
Welcome, Reese, to the 250 club. Is that what we're calling it?
We are now, and we would say usually, Reese, what kind of commercial would you like about yourself? But that's not how this works.
No.
Because we will make you that commercial with no input from you, minus maybe a couple of photos if you've got something incriminating with you and a cast member of Home and Away or Neighbours. And we'll use that. But outside of that, we just go free reign on what kind of commercial we're going to make for you. So saddle up, Reese. It's going to be a wild one. I've got some ideas. We talked pre-show about some formats and some stuff we can play around with.
okay.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Got a good idea for Reese.
This is good. Oh, this is good.
Involves props.
Really?
Don't give away too much.
That's all I said.
Okay. All right, let's jump into our gaming week, Gus. Our gaming week, where we talk about the games that we've been playing.
Yes.
In our gaming week.
Our gaming week.
Our gaming week. Talk about what you've been playing in your gaming week.
The segment is called I'm just saying what you've all been playing.
Yeah.
But yes, you do lead in nicely with, hey, let's talk about our gaming week. So I feel like I should have made a graphic for our gaming week, and then we put that underneath. I said, Nick, maybe don't say that this time. He said, cool. Great advice, Gus. You're always there for me with some good advice. And then halfway through doing it, realized, he needed that to say, we're back on the single. I don't know why I keep going down
Because
this
the
hole.
story, when you tell it, doesn't really make sense to
Just
anyone
keep
who
going.
wasn't there. But you really doubled down on it.
Yep.
That's
We're
what I like.
hanging on this for the next minute.
I've been playing Destruction All-Stars, everyone. As we mentioned, one of the free games on the PS Plus Platinum whatever that was.
Plogram.
Plogram.
Yep.
This is a PS5 exclusive, one of the few that are out at the moment, and it's they immediately put it on the Game Pass. Oh, not Game Pass. What do you call it? PS Plus Pass.
Yep.
And it is a rollicking good time. I'll say that straight off the bat. I'm having heaps of fun with this.
Yeah, cool.
It was originally delayed. It was going to be a launch title, I believe.
It was going to be a launch title,
Yes.
and it was going to be a premium title.
Correct. And I think they've done a really smart move by making this currently free, so it's worth snatching up. And it is a combination of a few games, most of which I like, and it does almost all of the good parts from those games.
Yep.
So it's Overwatch meets Fortnite meets Destruction Derby.
I'm sorry.
Oh my god!
How do you start with Overwatch when we're looking at Rocket League?
That's what I want.
Overwatch, it's Fortnite.
No. I'm excited to hear him support it. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Stephanie would like to hear me dig myself out of this hole. Look,
Hang
I
on.
want to start with the
Miles is here.
the largest. Hey, Miles, how you doing? I want to start with the biggest feature of the game, which is the character design, which they've gone for this kind of
you can get out of the car.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, right,
There is
okay.
that. It's a class-based racer in the sense that you choose from a character, an overly designed character in the vein of something like Overwatch with very obnoxious design elements, aka Fortnite. And that dictates the character that you have is your special ability and your special car that you can unlock. You see in the bottom left down there, you earn those power-ups by picking up gems around the course. And they have particular powers. You can see there on the left, Lupita, I think is my choice, drives a huge flame. I think that's her name.
No, I was just.
I am Lupita.
Yeah.
She is,
on this show.
Well, I was going to get to that. She is my favorite character. Again, it's like someone got a bunch of young designers and just said, you all get to put an idea in the hat and we're going to take them all out.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, the design's cool.
The
Look
design,
at the way she runs.
she's hilarious. She's got like a kitty cat helmet. With
She's my favorite one.
Yeah?
Yep.
She's got a Daft Punk visor on the front of a cat helmet. And yeah, the characters, I would say when I first saw all of them, I hated them all design-wise. I was like, these are all just way too far over the top. But I really end up...
It's an over-the-top game.
It is, and that's when you get really into the actual game or the meat of the gameplay, you realize that complements it really well.
Because imagine if that
you
was
play this
Joel
online
from
with
Last of
people.
Us.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll get to that too. It is a multiplayer game.
And Kratos running around. It's like,
It is a multiplayer-focused game, and it has, obviously, the emphasis is on online. I have not been enjoying the online aspect that much. I've found that, first and foremost, there's an issue that is the voice chat, which comes through your controller, or is uses the mic in your controller. So technically everyone has a microphone, is on by default and is almost impossible to turn off. So you are listening to everyone else playing,
okay.
the noise that's happening in their house, screaming, all that kind of stuff by default. And I think to turn it off, you might need to go to your PlayStation party settings and mute yourself or everyone else around you, that kind of thing.
They actually patched that.
Okay, great. It has been patched. That was what I was going to get to. They mentioned that was the big bit of feedback people were getting.
Yeah.
But the games I've jumped into, even though I've got good internet, have had lag spikes here and there. And for a game that has such quick contact, specific timing to the destruction of it, that feels really cheap if it does lag out, which might just be a server-side thing as it's slowly picking up pace or getting a user base. But you can play arcade mode where it's against AI. I also don't really see the need to, it's not very personal. There's just a shitload of cars smashing into each other. It's very rare that
I
you're
like that.
but you're not really hunting anyone down.
That sounds like it's for me.
Yeah.
It is, but you don't ever really follow someone around with a vendetta or see nameplates that often. It's just kind of it's just it is literally a destruction ring.
and so you get points by blowing other cars up and running people down who have been
there's a few
expelled by the
modes.
cars.
They're all just a variation of driving around in an arena, smashing into people, kind of a momentum-based thing. So obviously, if you come in with more force, you're going to do damage to them and take less damage yourself.
Yep.
And that's to get KOs. You can, as you see, eject out of the vehicle, run around on foot, which is hilarious.
Because as your car takes damage, it gets to a point where it will explode.
So
Yeah, okay.
you
Want
can
to
eject
bail
out.
on your car and get a new.
And then
You can get a new one.
So they
Like,
systematically...
people can run you over.
Yes, the cars systematically pop up around the arena and you can jump into those. Or, as I said, said, activate your special car, and that will just appear suddenly, and you can jump in that. From being on foot, you're not helpless. You can dodge and leap around, and you can jump on other cars. And when you're on top of them, you do a little sort of quick time mini game, and if you win that, you can then either steal the car from the person or blow it up and get the point for the KO of blowing them up. Which is funny because, you just find yourself focusing on cars, and occasionally you've got little people caught in the way of the destruction and that sort of thing.
How do you win?
I mean, for the basic mode, which is just mayhem mode, it's basically a combination. You get points for big hits, for KOs, for running people over. So that's just a kind of score chaser.
Like
There's another mode which is for the destruction.
Steph's like, I accidentally run into things all the time. So.
It sounds
now I can do it in game.
It sounds like a car game for someone with my specific set of driving skills.
It is super arcade. It is super arcadey in the physics. You've got a power dash forward and a side swipe, so you can slam a handbrake on. It doesn't feel like it's super realistic in the physics.
I've never been into racing sims, and this seems like the antithesis of that.
It's like playing an arcade shooter with cars kind of thing. The other modes of note, which I thought were kind of cool, is one is like you collect points by doing damage, and you have to bank it by driving into a giant tornado in the middle of the ring that destroys your car.
Makes sense.
Which is actually a really fun one.
It's like depositing moats when you...
Oh, a Destiny reference. Nice.
Yeah, when you are playing... There
we go. The rest of the modes I don't find as impressive. There's one where the ring slowly falls away and everyone has to be the last one standing. That's like Fall Guys, but with cars.
Yeah,
the ring itself is like the floor will fall out. And it's...
Oh, with like the hexagon.
The arena.
All that kind of thing. That one's not great. And... I'd say I jump in for a quick game. I have like 1 or 2 matches, and it is just bright, bubbly, and colourful. And then it's just got like in the single player in particular, when you do some really good connections and crashes, it does a cool slow-mo whip around, and you see the destruction. And there's moments where it really highlights it well with the camera angles, and makes it a heap of fun. I think that's someone using the superpower of the car there.
Yeah.
So the ranges of those are really fun. There's one that puts like a huge metal shield over your car, so you are like a wrecking ball. Some of them have spikes that stick out. Some of them do a gas cloud so people can't see what's happening.
That's cool.
So it's hero abilities essentially with cars. And the last thing I'll say, which I should probably not make the last thing, there is a sort of a very loose story mode that's in it, which I've jumped into. And basically what this is you follow a character, and you'll do like 6 or 7 events as that character with a really pitiful cutscene at the start and end of it that tries to tie some kind of rivalry between you and another driver. It's basically reskinning the events, but they throw some little variations. Like one is you're in an empty arena trying to get as many pickups as possible in a time limit. One of them is you pick up...
I feel like story stuff in car games is always pretty weak.
It's a shocker, and I'll say that because you only get one of them with one character, the big like Mexican wrestling guy. You get all of his, and depending on how many stars you rank in that, you'll unlock costumes and skins for your car. They're terrible. They are literally color swaps. It's like a hue shift for the car. They all have such cool, elaborate costumes. They don't have any variations on them. They are essentially just like, it's that costume, but a different color, which is really not great.
Maybe they'll add DLC.
I hope so, because the character design in itself is great. And then the only problem from there is if you want to do the other 2 that are currently available for 2 other characters, so it's 2 other adventure series tied to 2 other characters, it's a paid currency amount that you need to pay. That can't be earned in-game at all. And it's 200 of those points to play it, and the packs only come in 500. And so the currency isn't matched out, so you can, which is a common thing in microtransactions. But I just thought this was something that I then paid for one of them to try it out, because the next character was Lupita, and it was all of her. And I was like, oh, cool, I want to see the story cutscenes with her, and I want to unlock the cool costumes. The story cutscene is her and another racer standing there over a single donut in a box. He eats it, and she goes, oh, and that's like their rivalry. I was like, the fuck?
They're trying to keep it light and fun.
I mean, I've killed for less.
But it is definitely no Overwatch Blizzard style kind of like these characters.
But I've been hearing people compare it to Overwatch all the time.
And
it's the obvious comparison.
Yeah, and then I went through and I earned like a slightly different color of one of the cars and a heap of like shout emotes that you never use and you never hear. So that's the one sort of tarnish on the whole thing that I found. I was like, but there's enough content in the rest of it to play.
Well, the thing is, like, to me, I see Twisted Metal.
Yep.
And Twisted Metal, I hated because of the design of it. Like the whole thing was
same.
Was just like,
yeah, I love that.
So like it was crazy clowns, blood and rust.
Yeah.
And it's like it's such a
whips and chains.
Yeah, it was so cool in like a skinhead
like
way.
a late
Yeah,
90s.
yeah.
It was like
kind of
it was just really fucking gross to look at.
Yeah.
And had a gross attitude.
Yeah.
Whereas at least this is like, I mean, this looks
like
like a
Lupita.
Ubisoft game to me. Like, it looks like playful Just Dance madness.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, that's a much nicer skin over this to me. And hopefully it just means like the people that liked Twisted Metal can slip into
Yeah.
something like this, and there's a broader audience for it as well.
Totally.
Fortnite meets Overwatch meets Rocket League meets Roller Champions. All
There you
four
go.
of them
That's good.
smashed into each other and twisted the metal around each other.
The thing because I've played a bit of this as well, the thing I like about it, I think it's hard to get the driving right in a game like this because it's actually, like, it's all about deliberately crashing into other people, and therefore you don't want the driving to be too nimble that people can get away from you. So the driving is kind of like, you turn very slowly, but you've got this like forward boost which smashes, but you've also got these side boosts to like knock into someone as you go past them. So I think that the balance of how the car controls, it's easy for you to drive around, but it's like hard to get out of the way of like a sure thing crash.
Yeah.
So that therefore there is always some sort of mayhem going on around you, because I think that the arenas are quite big. If you're down one end and most of the other people are down the other side, you could go, oh, it could be quite easy to dodge and sort of hide around here. So yeah, it's very satisfying.
I have found both with AI and even with the online matches I played with people. People get caught in a train and do find
Totally, yeah,
themselves
yeah,
driving
yeah.
around,
Yeah.
trying to hit each other. So it's never like a total scatter approach. It's like,
And then
you'll see
Lupita
whether-
jumps on with one of those sticks like at the Dodgem cars and starts like pushing people apart. It's like, stop kissing in there, get out of here.
But as you said, it's cool. It is cool that extra feature.
Lupita's a carny.
It is cool that there is that feature of if you are caught pinned against a wall and you see someone about to slam into you, you press a button and fire out of the car as it
Yeah,
blows
which
up
is
underneath
awesome,
you.
yeah.
And I've had some moments. I was skeptical of this going into it. I thought it wouldn't deliver on like the trailer looked amazing, but yeah, there've been moments where cars have gone off little ramps and just gone vroom over the top of me as I've leapt out and then landed in a new car and
Yeah.
linked it all together.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a dumb, fun idea that just actually plays a lot better than I thought it would.
Camel Rage says, Carmageddon Dover League Watch Night. So there you
the
go.
working title.
Rolls off the
There you
tongue.
go.
All right. Yeah. All right, cool. And that's mainly what you've been playing?
That is, yeah. Not all I've had time for, but I've enjoyed how quick fire it is to pick up and play because Demon Souls is kicking my butt.
Main Goo TV. What is the game called? Destruction All Stars on PS5. Is it on PS4?
what are you
No, just
called?
PS5.
Just PS5,
Just PS5.
and it's part of the PS Plus free games this month.
There you
Peter
go.
Burns, let's slow it down a little bit.
All right, let's go and the aftermath of your game. My game talks to with the medium. Cue the medium wheel. Thank you very much.
So this is where all the bodies that were
Yeah.
the car crash.
Oh,
So
and
I met Lupita.
you did this group stream of this as well, didn't you?
Lupita is in a
It-
wall. Yeah, I check out our recent VODs and you can see us playing the first 3 hours of this.
Yeah, backseat gaming,
Nick
baby.
playing it, backseat gaming. I went and finished it because I found it compelling enough from that session to be like, I want to see where this goes.
And not only compelling enough to see where it goes, but to go through that for 3 hours again and then pick it up.
Yeah, well, I was lucky enough
speedrun through
to.
that.
I did speedrun through it, and I was in chat with some lovely Pocketeers as well in the Discord. I was just like, "What are you guys doing?" And they were playing Cards Against Humanity, like a digital version of it. Something. And I'm like, I'm running through, and they're all talking about
Rude things.
very rude things. But that was nice to ease the tension of that first 3 hours. But yeah, I played through the rest of it, and for people who aren't aware, it's it's Bloober Team, sorry, is the team that made it. Microsoft bought exclusivity to it, so it's on the Xbox Series X and S and on PC in the Game Pass, and so it's free through Game Pass.
They're a Polish developer?
They are, yeah.
Yeah.
There was
That's the
scare
bit.
that we,
I have a post-show story about that.
I'm interested.
Yeah, so am I.
All right.
Did you poop yourself?
It was
There's no story anymore.
It's the post show, Steph. He came himself.
Fair.
No. Peter, go on.
So the game itself is only 5 hours long. It's actually quite short. Or maybe 6 hours long. I finished it in about 5 hours, but that was after speedrunning the top. And It is a very story-heavy game. It is kind of billed as a horror game, and there's definitely horror elements to it. And it plays a little bit like an early Resi game where you kind of...
Meets Overwatch, yeah.
Meets Overwatch. There's definitely some Just Dance in there. And it's very much about exploring the areas that are unlocked to you at the moment, interacting with the world in every single way possible, and that lets you progress through the world. And though the most interesting parts of this game are definitely the interaction with the world. There is
the real world.
No, with within the world, interacting with the puzzle and the narrative that's buried in the world. And again, it's a short game, and the pacing is really good of giving you more of that than the action horror, run away from the bad things, interact with the bad things.
Do you find this real world, death world mechanic works well and is enjoyable? Is it? Yeah,
it holds up for the whole 5 hours. I'll say that. I was going to say this a bit later, but I do feel like it feels a bit like a tech demo from this team for this mechanic.
Yeah.
I was surprised by how well the story landed, and mechanically it did feel like this kind of got in the way of the story at times, but it is really it's super impressive, and I feel like they use it really well throughout, particularly in the cutscenes. I love these cutscenes, and we're seeing kind of what's happening now in the real world. You're getting a different perspective on the conversation that's happening in the undead realm as well, in the medium realm that she can enter. And so she's having a conversation with a dead child, and instead of just being a one-for-one shot, they've made some deliberate decisions about where they put the camera. And to me, that's direction that's really considered and deliberate, and it plays out really beautiful in moments.
It's funny that you really have an eye for that, because I think first and foremost it's just interesting that they choose to show both at all. That's totally a puzzle mechanic first and foremost, and then it's no, while the story's happening, it's nice to know that the way they choose to tell this is by saying she's in both worlds while this is happening. And it's really cool when she picks something up or holds someone and you're seeing it. But yeah, on top of that, there's that choice of let's not one for one it, let's show contrasting angles or show it gives us twice the opportunity to do something creative.
I like the way it's got it's not split in half the whole time. It favors
it prioritizes the most important information.
Totally. Yeah,
and that's in the gameplay and in the cutscenes as well. This mechanic plays out in. I don't think it really develops beyond what it is, which is why it feels like a tech demo. It's they nailed the engine work of having effectively they're rendering two versions of the same world simultaneously, with a different skin over it. But mechanically, those models have to be driven by. I mean, I don't know how it works, but we were talking about on.
We thought it was.
We assume there's one driver.
Yeah.
And it's being rendered twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me, with a widescreen monitor, this game did not support widescreen because they built the whole game around how much game they can show you on either side of the screen as well.
There's Pete sitting there going, why doesn't she go into 3 realms?
There's more realms.
It's not enough.
We must go deeper.
This one, she never got out of bed.
I like games that do interesting things mechanically like that game with the brothers, or the ones where you'll get it breaking out of the prison.
A way out.
Way out.
I guess,
it's cool.
Is it asymmetrical puzzle solving? I guess not really.
Are you trying to define this genre?
Well, no, but I'm just trying to think of a good way to define something that needs you both, interacting in two opposite ways to pull a puzzle together.
Yeah, it's
asymmetrical puzzle solving.
It's like haughty puzzles.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat just previously mentioned, I'm not sure, they said that the dual world mechanic, they have patented that.
Yeah, right.
Apparently, which I know you guys mentioned something similar
we were talking about
on Monday about a different game.
That's a damn shame.
But yeah, it's unfortunate, which does mean they're trying to really sort of hamper the creative use of that mechanic.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, which is tricky. But at least in this sense, you said there's something there.
It was I always find this with we've had, and we've talked about this as well on the show, this kind of renaissance of horror in. I would call this a AA game, not a AAA game.
Sure.
We've had a lot of indie scene doing it, and a lot of
the overreaching indie.
The overreaching. We've had the Poles and the Scandinavians have a lot of winter, and they either make metal music or horror video games. That's all they do in those 6 months.
I just want to give them a hug.
And so I've played things like like Layers of Fear, which we say, which I agree is a good version of it. There's been heaps of things that I've played where I've been like the story gets lost in translation. It's just like, it's like, I don't want to offend a lot of people, but like I find Metal is often really surface level about the emotion that it puts into a game and into the music, and I find that the games as well are similar in how surface level they are, and a lot of that is the translation, I think, to English when I'm playing it.
Sure.
I found that a bit about this game.
Yeah, okay.
But I do think that, like, I found in terms of how the story gets told, but I do think it stuck the landing in the story it tried to tell and landing it right at the end.
And it sounds like that their background as European, like that European sort of Scandinavian style, it complements everything they're trying to do in this story, particularly the era it's set in. It's kind of that, like, is it?
And they're obviously, and I obviously can't connect with it, but they're very clearly stories that these developers have taken from their parents and their grandparents. Like this, it's very real, and the authenticity of it, I think, is what sells it in the end.
And I guess
not like it doesn't feel like it's just trying to be cheesy for cheesy's sake. It sometimes feels cheesy, but it doesn't. But I can tell that there's real meaning behind it.
I guess, like, and not really a spoiler, but the idea is the game takes place telling stories that she, as a medium, has to find connections to dead people and tell their stories or like help them move on. And as you're mentioning, those stories don't feel really pulpy or like not Resident Evil, but like they don't feel like garish and gross and horror.
Yeah.
They're not trying to just get cheap like squeamishness out of it. They feel like really distressed but like emotionally powerful stories about death and people have been affected by it, which makes it, from the limited time I saw with it, have a bit of actual sort of
which the flip of that is it's never trying to be a fun game.
Yeah, right.
Like where Resident Evil is trying to be fun and put like crazy characters in your face.
Yeah.
This isn't ever doing that. It's trying to be quite serious about the characters that you interact with. But yeah, it's short enough that I was pulled through the whole thing and it never outstayed its welcome. And I think it changed its tact like enough throughout. Tack. I saw you. Yeah, he's a sailor over there. Enough to maintain interest throughout the whole 5-6 hours. So
I'm glad you finished it because I was wondering if any of us would, because I enjoyed playing it, but I think I enjoyed the act of playing it with you guys more than the actual game itself. I was like, oh, this is cool, but at no point have I felt that drawback. I felt like the mechanic was really cool, but I had sort of like seen it.
Yeah.
And I think that the clock thing that we saw a bit of thing therefore was almost like the best version of it, of you affect just this one object here and this entire room changes, and then the story, I was like, so I'm glad that it ended up pulling you through.
Yeah, and I actually, after I played it, saw that it was actually receiving quite good reviews, and yeah, it is free with Game Pass, so I was able to play it on PC, and that obviously has an impact on how much you enjoy a thing, having not had to outlay $60 at the onset and feel like compelled to play it because you paid money for it.
Totally. It's like the quintessential Game Pass game. It's like the game where you go, I've heard some people talk about this and I don't know if I want to spend that amount of money on it, but if it's there, I'll definitely play it.
It's really how I'm choosing to play all my console games at the moment. Well, from those subscription services, because it does give you that entry level. You're not constantly just checking your wallet for like, was this worth the dollars it was paid for? It's like, it's such a nicer way to enjoy games. I know that sounds like it is a first world problem, but it is like, it does help with a game like this as well, which, as you said, is a AA game. You might just be more skeptical because you're like, I could be having a AAA experience right now. But no, that's wonderful that that it's that length as well, because I kind of think I might now jump in and
I would
recommend a
recommend
save file for me that I can just like pick up.
Take mine.
Yeah. Okay.
It would have come on that Xbox I was going to give you a couple of weeks ago that you really
Shunned.
That's a sailing term.
Stephanie, what have you been playing?
I've been playing 2 games, which some people in the chat might find surprising, given that the last time they saw me, I was spewing expletives about my internet troubles, which I think may have been solved.
Yes.
I only had to complain like 4,000 times on the internet about it.
Throw one in now for good measure, just in case.
It was just one of those things where I feel like I don't like to like call out businesses because I feel like a bit dirty because I have a following, so I can make things happen, whereas an average person might not be able to, and why should I have the right to do that?
Yep.
But in this instance, I just went crazy. And so...
And that no one has any affection for the NBN.
No.
We've accepted that it
It's true.
exists.
But we got lots of phone calls and emails today, and I think it might actually happen. And it was definitely a case of just like one person didn't tick a box, so that another person couldn't tick their box, and that stopped the whole process from happening.
That's how it works.
Anyway, I did manage to play Potion Craft,
Yes.
which you recommended me, and
Yes.
like 3 other people recommended to me, which I love when that happens because I love being associated with certain games.
Yeah.
And this was very much a effectively like a mini game that you would find in a broader game, but just packaged as a game in itself. The art and design is wonderful.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
And actually, the way they've made it into a broader game is quite clever. In that you sort of start off with a few really basic ingredients, and you're taught how to make a couple of potions, and that kind of slowly starts to open up the map. So as you create a potion, the little potion bottle kind of moves across a map, revealing a kind of a fog of war, showing you other ways that you can use ingredients to try and get to other areas and learn new recipes. And
Sorry, I'm just impressed with whoever's speedrun of this. Are they speedrunning? Because they know everything to do at once. They're like, click, that goes there, puff, 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 off we go.
you do get really fast at it.
Oh, right,
Except
okay.
for this person is reading a bunch of stuff, and this is a haggling mechanic when you're selling
Right.
a potion to people, and the longer you're in that screen, the less money you get. So this person is failing at that. For sure.
For sure.
But yeah, so the way they've kind of turned it into a broader game is that different people will come to you and they'll ask for different potions that might help them with certain
What
things.
ails you?
Yeah, and you have to figure out. So like I've figured out how to
Counting
make.
time.
I figured out how to make a poison and a healing
cool.
potion, and then somebody.
Sorry, are you selling poison and then being like, I also have
No, but sometimes you get someone who's just like, hey, this guy's really pissing me off. I wonder if you can give me something for that. Then I guess you could be like, morally, do I agree with that? But I don't know. I just give it to them.
Yeah, you're after the money.
They're just a sketch on a piece of paper.
It's not up to me.
You're
But
on it.
then somebody will be like, oh, I need something. My crops are wet and I was going to, scorch the earth so I could replant again. Do you have anything that would help me like set things on fire? And I'm like, well, I don't have a recipe for that yet. So then I go back to my little potion map and I look at the ingredients that I have. And then as you start adding different ingredients to your mortar and pestle and then into the cauldron, it kind of sends you off in different directions. And then when you hover over other ingredients, it kind of shows you the different directions
Right.
that you can go from there if you start. And a lot of times you make stuff that just is nothing and you kind of waste ingredients exploring.
Yeah,
But
right.
you also unlock, different things for your spell book and other abilities that will help.
How do you gather ingredients and stuff?
You have a garden with a magic tree that perpetuates more stuff.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, right.
So the screen is kind of set in like a cross. So the central part is your cauldron and thing that you sort of see there. If you go to the left, that's your shop front where the people come and you haggle with them. To the right is your tree garden with all of the ingredients that you get every day. Above you is your bedroom. So you end the day, and when you wake up, all the ingredients are back and you pick them. And then to the south is like a hectic alchemy like lab,
Yeah,
which
cool.
I wasn't able to use because it's not available in the demo. But
Yep.
I guess that's when the game kind of gets more complex, then you start going in that direction.
Right.
So is the end goal to make gold?
I don't know. I found it like, I don't know if there's enough there for me to feel like I would play hours and hours of this. I'm definitely
yeah.
intrigued by it. And I also found the process of trying to find new recipes quite difficult. Like I managed to get a few, but it was really hard to kind of find my way. Like in the feedback survey that I filled out, I was
Right.
I was like, please give me hints on how to find new recipes. Thank
My
you."
laboratory is too hectic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting thing because, like, my only connection to something like this is the system that was in, I guess it's in Skyrim as well as Oblivion.
Yeah.
But you would just, like, eat things and get sick, and then you'd be like, oh, I can see an effect of that, and I can pair it with things and,
Breath
Yeah,
of the Wild
yeah.
and learn that
had
way.
things where you were like Breath of the Wild, the
cooking,
mix
yeah.
ingredients
Cooking,
and be
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and it would make the noise and be like, it's a dud. Like,
You do really have to experiment a lot, and I think what they've nailed the art and design so much, it's worth playing just for that. But also the process of making potions is really satisfying. Like when you put things into the mortar and pestle, and the grinding sound is that very, because I have lots of mortar and pestles at home because I quite like them.
I didn't want to jump to this straight away. I saw this and I was like, That reminds me, I need to buy a mortar and pestle because I've been making pesto in a blender and it is just hell to get out of the blender. And I'm like, I would have such a more satisfying process and I would get more pesto for my buck.
It'd take you 4 years.
No, but it is satisfying.
Everyone uses a blender.
Yeah.
To make pesto.
He can use a mortar and
I thought
pestle.
it might be.
Massimo Botturro uses a blender.
Don't know who that is. Anyway, I just saw it and I was like, they look so lovely to use. And again, like the animation in that looks
true.
stunning.
Stick blender would help you out a lot.
Yeah,
Stick blender.
Just
a
the
blender on a
handheld
stick.
one. $20 from Kmart.
They were both going.
Everyone just went like that at once, and I was like, I also just want one in my kitchen. They look lovely, and they're like
They are
they
nice.
weigh a
You
lot.
want a mortar and pestle. You don't want to make pesto in that. You want to make pesto with a stick blender.
Well, maybe I want to make powdered. Help me. What do you make with it?
Well, if you're having, if
I
washing
want it
your
as a
clothes
weapon
at the
if someone
moment is
invades
too
my
easy,
kitchen.
I've got one of those boards and some rocks you can.
I will say our pepper grinder broke the other day, so we put peppercorns in the mortar and pestle and
There you
crushed
go.
the. Yeah, there you go.
So wait, you have more than one?
What? Mortar and
Mortar-
pestle?
yeah.
Yeah.
They've got mortars.
We got a big one and a little one.
I got a big one, a little one. I've got one that's like a traditional clay one, and then I have one that's like a granite stone.
Yeah.
I just like
Sorry,
them.
those are the two. There's not 4.
Oh, I see. Right, okay.
We should make a pockety one. It should be.
I don't know if-
Oh, get that on Redbubble.
The butt cheeks is where you put the mint.
I don't know if
You grind it
Redbubble
up and down. In
Redbubble have moved into like that sort of
The shipping on that would be a
medieval
nightmare.
style cooking. No, yeah, it looks beautiful in that sense.
Yeah, so I do want to keep playing it, but I feel like I need to wait till it comes out so I can sort of watch other people do it and then kind of get more of a sense of where to go from where I was.
So it's a demo that's not fully released, like the full game.
Yeah, it's just a demo at the
Right.
moment, but yeah, it's really cool. It's got cute like medieval music. The stories that all the customers have when they come to you are really funny and
Yeah.
I don't believe it has a release date yet, but it is coming out this year.
it seems in itself like a mini game, but there are mini games within the mini game.
I can tell from just like graphically, it's stunning. It does look like there is some finer details to play because this looks like something I would actually really enjoy as a mobile game.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's what they've got plans on doing, but as you mentioned, the amount of just like that click and drag motion, the amount there is to do is satisfying. Kind of like not short term, but just like there's limits to how much you do and put it down for the day.
I think this footage might be sped up a little bit. I don't think
I don't know. I think
Can't
we're
move
just
that
looking
fast?
at a boss potion maker.
Yeah. That's
Does
just
a good
that's
stuff.
just pro mouse and keyboards
Yeah.
right there.
And then
See that
what's the
on
second
the
game you've been playing?
yeah, I'm gonna stop doing that.
What was the name of that? Sorry, some people were.
That was called Potion Craft.
Potion Craft.
Potion Craft. Demo, I think, is still there on Steam, so you can just download it and have a go.
Cool.
And yes, the other game I've been playing is Valheim. That's the game that I tried to play last night and failed, but then luckily I jumped on this morning. So it's another survival game, which is amazing because for someone who doesn't like survival games, I've been playing an awful lot of survival games lately.
We're all keeping up with our New Year's gaming resolutions.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
It's like you playing with more people to be able to play.
Totally, yeah. And I think just after I've been having such a great time in Ark, I've been more open to like what survival games have to offer.
Sure.
And you know, I think what's wonderful about Ark is that like obviously it's very creature focused. The whole joy of that game is finding and taming new types of dinosaurs, but there's no. I feel like a little bit. Like there's no kind of broader objective. I don't know anything about the lore of the world. It doesn't really tell me anything about it. So, but I'm satisfied just with the dinosaur experience and, you know, hanging out with my friends. I feel like where Valheim kind of fills that gap is it's a survival game with a beautiful art style set in a sort of Viking-inspired world. And they very much have like
Are you
this-
interested in Vikings at all?
You spawn in the middle of
My answer is just giggle now.
you spawn into the middle of like a stone circle with a Vegvisir, which is like a Viking compass. It's like a rune.
The sailing thing.
It looks like
Make
it
pesto
looks
with
like an asterisk with like with lots of things
sexton?
coming off it. It's hard.
Yeah,
to,
right. Yeah, cool.
To describe it, but and then you're kind
Sorry, I heard you got the word sextant out at the end, but
Yeah.
you're like sex.
Yeah, I was like
Sex thing?
sexton?
Sex thing?
It's
Is it a sex thing?
It's a sex thing. It's a
It's
sex
a
thing.
little pockety butt.
Poor Nick wakes up in a
look at
stone circle and is like, well, I better fuck it.
Oh my goodness. Save it for the post show.
Sorry.
It doesn't look anything like a sextant. It looks like an asterisk with things coming off it.
Okay.
Like a snowflake. Thank you.
Good word, Gazra.
Gazra. It
No,
looks
was
like
it
a
Gazra?
snowflake under a microscope. Okay. and the world that you're on sits like beneath the world tree.
Yeah, right.
I think it's every episode. Your phone has a conversation
That was
with you.
Siri.
I mean, your
She's
watch.
been chatting lately.
She sounded really unimpressed with
You
you.
tried to put it up fucking silent again. You pinged your phone again like an asshole every time.
Because of the sex thing?
Yes, so it dives really beautifully into Norse mythology.
Yeah, cool.
Your world is sitting underneath Yggdrasil, which is the world tree.
Yep.
And your
Say the word again.
Yggdrasil.
It's so nice.
What was the one
They had
before?
good
The snowflake
words.
Thing? Say
the
that one.
Vikings.
Vegvisir.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah. And then you sort of obviously do the thing where you scavenge and you build things and you start buildings and stuff like that. But then as you kind of get enough weapons and abilities, there are like little boss fights and stuff that you go and do that kind of like level you up, and then you open up more of the map.
Yeah, cool.
How many other people roughly are in a world? You know, like, is it you have no idea, or it's like there's sort of 20 to 50 people per server?
I think on a private, like we're on a private server at the
Sure.
moment, so I'm not sure how many people you can have in that, but there are also like PvP worlds that you can go into.
Yep.
They just
Okay.
like the game advises you not to maybe make a separate character to do that because
Yeah,
you're
right.
probably going to die.
Sure.
Yeah. and you just lose all your stuff. It's like it's proper
You
reset.
lose all your stuff and your character levels up, so yeah, you'd be dead, and
Yeah.
if you die on another server, it's like you're gone.
Die in the Matrix. You die here.
Yeah.
But you keep your gear back at your house that is saved.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Seeing a
So
lot
it's
of-
like you lose any
Whatever you've got on you.
RPG
Yeah.
like experience that your character gained, but you could go and get the same sword that person had.
Yes. yes.
I'm seeing a lot of people say 10 players max per
10
server.
players max per server. Oh, cool. Yeah.
And then from the trailer, I saw like heaps of cool creature design and things that are out there to kill you.
Yeah, so the first like there's in the world there are like I guess Nordic mythology creatures, like little kind of goblin-y type things. Obviously like normal animals in the world as well, but the creature that we had to do our first boss fight was this kind of demon deer.
You shoot it from a distance. You track it for a while.
Follow
You
up.
go downwind, you shoot it. I know that.
It was a hectic fight actually because it sort of explodes with lightning and stuff. Like it was a really cool fight, and because it's like mythology based, there's like magic-y kind of stuff within this world that makes it cool. And there's all of these of those beautiful Viking stones with the runic inscriptions on them that you find around in the world that tell you a little bit more about them. Odin's raven guides you through the world and tells you how to do
nice.
things. It's all really really beautiful, and the art is a little bit like how do I describe this? Like close up, it's really pixely, but like broadly, it's so beautiful. It's like a kind of a gouache impression.
Yeah, I loved
painting.
how
Like,
the trees in the distance sort of
yeah,
blend.
It is stunning.
But I even saw someone building a house and using like timber and rock. But you're right, when you look at it up close, it's almost Minecraft pixely, but it's
Yeah.
done with a way that's like got just enough extra pixels to look like it's a purpose design decision versus just low res.
I
or
wasn't
something.
sure how I would feel about it, but I actually really, really love it.
Yeah, cool.
And
is-
it's just so like easy on the eyes.
And is the combat good? Because that's something that in these sort of like resourcey survival sort of things, I often find the combat to be not amazing because they focus more on the crafting and building.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's like the best or anything, but you know, I crafted a bow and managed to like, and it, you know, it had a really nice kind of arc to the arrows and stuff.
I guess if you're fighting bosses and stuff was more what I was thinking, that like if you're going into
Yeah.
these bigger encounters as opposed to just PvP fighting, then
Yeah, I think it's fine. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
okay.
say it's great.
nothing to write home
It's
about.
still a little bit just like that, you
Yeah.
know.
I agree entirely. Like Rust PvP looks super janky. What was the medieval one with Bowl that we played back in Good Game Days?
Oh, Reign of Kings.
Reign of Kings.
Yeah.
Fun and funny and silly, but like really like wonky kind of first person. But yeah, this just looks like it's a little more focused as a third person. It is all third person.
I think you can zoom in. A
Oh, okay.
Lot, but yeah, it's. I think it's designed.
Looks more manageable as the combat as third person versus
Yeah.
like a lot of.
I found the combat fine for a survival game. I don't think it's definitely, as you say, it's not the focus.
Yeah, cool.
But the boss fights are also like, I think it would be enemies scale if you have more players.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you were by yourself, like I think we did okay in our first boss fight because there were lots of us to draw attention
Mm-hmm.
from the boss. But if you're fighting it by yourself, I feel like that would be quite scary.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's Valheim?
Valheim.
And are you going to keep playing?
I'm definitely going to keep
Yeah,
playing.
cool.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the building in it. We're building a little boathouse at the moment. It's nice. And I'm excited to see what the rest of the world has to offer. And I feel like that's because there's more mystery to it. And I'm obviously invested in Norse mythology, but like it feels like there's a reason to explore beyond just getting more stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
This was another game that I mean, I'm sure you'd heard of it before and other people had said it. This was another one that I found and I was like, Steph. And I sent it to you. I was like, Steph, have you seen? I feel like all of our communication last week has been me sending you, Steph, Viking game. Steph, potion game. Steph, Witcher board game. Like, basically all of it.
Yeah, again, this was another one that like I had 3 people who were like, just like, this is a guy else, Vikings, probably love it. Okay.
And just to quickly clarify, so you're playing with like up to 9 other people that you're all working together on that server. You're not running into other people that are going to try and like steal stuff or break or like
On a private server, no.
On a private server, no.
Sure.
But you can go into just like random other servers. And I believe that there'll be like PvP servers and then maybe non-PvP servers where you just can have a peaceful world or a world where you like go and fight people.
And so how many other people are you playing with currently, roughly?
Just 2.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yeah.
And that's just the 3 of you running around, building, working together kind of thing.
You're sussing this out for your mates, aren't you? You're like,
Yeah.
can I bring my
100%. Yeah.
I could sit. That was the calculation happening.
Oh, also, see if there's a spare slot in the Valheim crew.
Because you can play with your friends and you can play with me.
I thought oh,
You can take that same character.
I thought you were going to be like, you can play with friends and your co-workers.
Cheers on
I was
me.
like, oh, ouch. And
I'm saying you don't have to choose.
yes, of course. Is it a demo again or no? It's a full...
This is an early access release.
So it's early access and it wasn't that expensive either. I feel like it was like $30.
Oh, okay, right.
I think it's even less, like 23, 26. But yeah,
And then
I feel like it was
around
28.
30.
And then Pete, you said something that was like it's 100 meg download or something.
It's
I didn't say that, but yeah,
$28.
28. I believe it is. Someone's 29.20 Australian dollars. Yeah, it is very small.
Cool. No, I know that's a weird thing to like focus on, but it just like looks like it's well made. Like it's it's economically built as a cool little game to
Economically built. Put it on the box.
Nick.
box.
Nick, before Nick, thank you to Jens for the raid.
Thank you
I'm
very much, Jen.
We didn't see how many came in, but welcome all of you.
Welcome.
Please enjoy our show.
Jen's viewers to Back Pocket. We have welcomed Jen's to Back Pocket. We now welcome her viewers. We are chatting about the games that we've played this week. What have you played this week? Let us know in the chat. And if you really like us, head to patreon.com/backpocket and tell us in the Discord.
Nick.
Just a follow would be nice for now.
Oh yeah.
Nah, give us your money. Come on. Don't be a coward.
What have you been playing? Tell us in the studio.
I have been playing. So Potioncraft was highlighted as part of the Steam demo indie thing, official title, that had been running over last weekend. And so I dove into a lot of games on that. And I played a real sampling of a lot of things. There's 2 I want to talk about, but I will just quickly reference ones that we don't have anything for. But Genesis Noir I played, which is like a jazz noir thing, and I played about 5 minutes, then I instantly put it down because I was like, nah, I'm going to play this when it comes out. Very cool. And then and I played a few other things. I dabbled a tiny bit in Potioncraft, but then I was like, you'll cover that, so I'll move on to something else. But the 2 that I checked out the most, the first one is Rogue Book. So this is like a super Nick game. This is from the developer Abracam, who made Feyria. Or Feyra?
The one with animals?
Yeah, and like it was like a card game.
Yeah.
Hex-based stuff. It came out like 4 years ago or something.
Not
like really.
Mellow.
Not Armello, which
Not
is
Armello,
League of
no.
Geeks.
Yeah.
Melbourne.
That's the animals one. I would think you would.
It was like
maybe that makes
that was more like a board game. This Feyra was more like a card game.
Right.
But also Richard Garfield. So Richard Garfield, the creator of Magic the Gathering, and also the guy who like smoke bombed the fuck out of Artifact, where it was like he comes in, develops a card game for Valve. He's like, I'm out, and Valve are like, this sucks. But this one is basically Slay the Spire. It's because such a phenomenal card game. They've used that as the sort of core building. Slay the Spire, a deck building game. As you go through, you add cards to your deck and you defeat bosses. This has a few wrinkles in it. The first one is you play as 2 characters. So you basically have like 2 kinds of decks, cards in your deck, 2 kinds of cards in your deck, one for one character and one for the other.
Sure.
And they interact in different ways, like the positioning of your characters gives power-ups to some of your cards and that sort of thing. But then the other thing is it's kind of built around this ink currency system where there's a map, like an overworld map, and you explore the map by spending ink to reveal tiles from the Fog of War.
That's
you're
hot.
earning through battles, which we see right here.
I love that.
And the really cool thing is that's where they hide gear on the map. So you can uncover fights and gold and stuff, but there's also like special items that in these kinds of games you would normally go to a shopkeeper and go, oh, I'm going to buy this thing that will carry me on this run, because it's a roguelike card game. Like once you die, you start from the beginning again. And so it's also about like this ink resource management of trying to get enough and sort of puzzle your way through this map to get to the thing that you want, like the special item on this map and that sort of thing.
Oh, so you're actually seeing the goals of the things, the direction you're heading. You're not just blindly wandering.
So that hidden item stuff, you see indicators that it's there, but for like gold and battles and stuff, you just sort of reveal them and then choose whether or not to take
And so is this JRPG like you'll enter a hex and you'll get attacked by hidden things?
You unveil and then you walk up to it and you go, yeah, I want to fight you.
Okay, so you when you murdered those 3 poor rams earlier as a giant frog brawler and a woman with a sword.
Correct.
You chose to go and kill those sheep.
Yes, I did. That was an active choice. Those sheep did nothing to me.
But provide you with the wool and whatever cards you needed.
I know. I love it. So funny. I was thinking today when I was playing Valheim about how like I just don't agree with your hunting game. But then as soon as I go into this, I'm like, can I kill this? Do I get resources? I've already killed it.
Oops. And I'm the monster.
And you're the monster.
But this was really fun. I really love card games. I love Slay the Spire. Love it. I really like the art style of this one. I like there's a few other mechanics in terms of like, which I didn't get too far into, but basically in a lot of these sort of deck builders, the idea is to like build up your deck, and then when you start getting more powerful cards, you want to start getting rid of the less powerful ones.
Yeah,
Whereas this one, you want more cards in your deck because that allows you to, I think it allows you to unlock more like mana. So the more stuff you have, the more potential that you can use, as opposed to like chuff that you need to burn through.
Does that get overwhelming in the sense of like managing a deck that big?
I mean, it didn't for me, but like I played sort of like an hour and a half of a demo. So I don't know, like once you do multiple runs through the thing.
Right. And do characters like... We've seen the same 2 fighting.
Yep.
Do they get stronger and you will continue to use them? Do they
Their
get stronger
decks
just by building out decks below them?
Their decks get stronger, yeah.
Yeah, cool, okay.
And you unlock new cards for them and stuff. And then there's other characters down in the sort of starting area. They're all sort of like... It has a bit of a sort of bastion-y kind of... that feeling of like there's a bunch of characters sort of like sleeping there, and you come and awaken a warrior and go like, come with me, and then so it was cool. It was really cool, and yeah, like I love these games, and so it's definitely something to keep an eye on, and super polished as well.
Yeah, cool.
And then the other game I played, which I had heard a bit about, was Song of Farsa. I think it's pronounced Farsa, and this is again a super me game. It's an investigation sim, but
It's like there's a Steam category for you.
Well, he would be getting recommended all this stuff. Based on your playing habits.
But you play their dead asexual pet, and you're like, okay, hi.
Yep. But this one is
naked inside a robot.
You play the woman on the right. She's a hacker PI. The top third of the screen is her apartment, and I believe as you get further into it, you can like interact with some stuff in there. And then the bottom part is her computer. And so this guy contacted me, and he's like, "I've lost my dog." And you go, I tend to not deal with the dog shit. Like, that's a little below my pay grade. He's like, it's a robot dog. And I'm like, oh. And so he's like, I took it to a park and it ran away, and my daughter's really upset because I promised my daughter would have the dog. And I go, okay. And then, so you go, okay, well, I'll see what I can do. He gives you a little bit of information, and then you can go to like a map and go to the park and hack into the cameras at the park, and then you can see what happened. And then you see a truck there, and some people have kidnapped the robot dog. And then you identify the face, you search the internet for the face, get their phone number, start contacting them. And so then you start building out these different ways in which you can call people, hack into their stuff, hack into cameras, hack into computers. And so I was expecting this to be like relatively simple, and pretty much like almost like a comedy game, because I was like, oh, robot dog, okay. Robot dog gets kidnapped, sold off to this other guy who's committing a bunch of tax fraud. This guy is blackmailing this woman to help him develop a new technology as part of the robot dog, because he has an underground...
What's the game called?
Song of Farsa.
But PH, right? It's like...
no, F-A-R-C-A.
F-A-R-C-A, okay, right.
he has an underground dogfighting ring, and there is a shot that I hack into a camera and a picture is revealed, and it's a bunch of just dead dogs everywhere, and the robot dog in the middle going around. Oh my God! It's like,
Goodness.
and so it ends
Give
up
that to
getting
your
very
daughter.
complicated. And then the way that you interact with people, it's a bit like you'll see Pete and I play a game shortly at dead of night, where you get two pieces of information and you basically put them together in a sentence and then propose a theory to these people, and that's how you progress a conversation.
Sentence puzzle solve.
Yeah, and you kind of like propose. You go like, "Oh, I put to you that this is what's happened." But the writing is really fun. It's funny. It's clever. The characters are all very different. It definitely got darker and weirder, and it became way more complicated than I was expecting. And at the end of that thing, I was like, oh God, like I accused 4 people. That was all wrong. I really had to think about how these connections was being made and have these constant conversations between people as like finding out a new piece and then going back to someone else and going, okay, and now I know this, like, explain yourself here. And she's like, and then the woman's like, he's blackmailing me. Oh God, I'm so sorry. And so, yeah, it's really cool. Like, tons of fun, really slick interface and easy to...
I was going to say the thing here that sort of distinguishes it apart from just basically like a text-based puzzle or an adventure is that mechanic of her having access to the internet, and then they're able to inject, from what you described and from what we saw up there, like heaps of different interfaces and different... You can travel from your apartment around and do all this investigating without having to physically do all that travel time in the game and all that sort of like location scouting. It's like it can be done through through cameras, through documents, through chat apps and all that kind of stuff, which seems like it's enough to keep you engaged versus just stuck in constant text bubbles.
And I was a little worried that particularly like a way to unlock clues is like you search the web for these people and a bunch of things come up, but then all the relevant info is just highlighted. And I was like, oh, that seems a bit simple that I just click on that and like I've logged a clue. But after playing it for half an hour, I was like, oh no, I'm really glad that's the case, because there's actually like 12 things that are potentially different ways you can gather this information. So it's just easy that's
Is it a little bit like that Sherlock board game?
It totally is. It's totally like that. Like, I'm just going to start having conversations with people and see where it goes. The only negative I have against it is that it's all the interaction you have with people is by calling them. And every time you call someone, it goes through the dial tone for a couple of seconds, they answer, and every time they answer and they're like, hello, and you go, you have to have like this basic conversation with them before you can start interacting.
Oh, right.
And it's like, no, you very much know who I am. I've been accusing you of dog murder for 4 days. Like, don't answer the phone with, hi, do you have a problem with your computer? And then it should just be like, it's me, bitch! but you have to go through this whole rigmarole of getting through that thing. And when it's
Put that in your survey report to the demo of the game. Like, it needs a it's me, bitch button.
Yeah, it just needs a skip dialogue thing, because it's like, if I'm just coming to this person to go like, do you know anything about this piece of information? No, okay, dead end, let's go in this direction. So, but yeah, other than that, awesome and super fun. So that was Song of Farsa, Farca. The demo may or may not still be on Steam at the moment, but I thoroughly recommend.
And does that title have any relevance yet in the game?
Farsa is the country or city that you're in.
Right.
And the song is Dog Murder.
Totally.
Side.
And then the last thing I played, which again I played a little bit before we arrived, was Little Nightmares 2. I just started that.
Yeah.
Cool.
I played the first and this is staying on my horror thing.
Yeah.
The first sort of 20,
People
30
think
minutes
it's really
of that.
scary.
Little Nightmares
what I
was
heard.
the like very monochrome, and then the little
Yellow
character in the yellow raincoat.
Screenplay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like
Tiny Hole.
Yeah. Tiny Hole!
Tiny Hole!
That's where that was from.
Tiny Hole?
Yeah. Because I was like, oh, we've got to try and find a way to get out of here. And then I was like, oh, look, here's it. And you went, Tiny Hole.
Oh my God, what a flashback. So I've started playing that. It's yet to be scary. I've played about half an hour. It's just an oppressive creep, and that's kind of what those games are.
Jump scares or no?
None yet. I was surprised, like half an hour, no jump scares. Creepy house, but like no jump scares.
The original didn't seem to be a jump scary kind of game. I thought it was more like you had big things coming after you, kind of picking up
bit of
momentum.
both.
A bit more limbo,
Jump
like
scares,
limbo,
but-
like you can see
Yeah,
the
really
horror.
a lot of unsettling.
Don't get caught by the horror. It's like navigate the world. around.
Yeah, and very
Yeah.
unsettling nature. Like you were a child and they were all grown up, so it was a bit more fantasy.
You're a child, but you're also tiny.
Yeah.
Like everyone is huge, and it's the same in this. Like you're on a boat in the first one, I think.
Yep.
And then the second one, one.
Is this 2, Will,
I
or
can't remember
1?
if I'm confusing.
This is 2.
If
Yeah,
I'm
nice.
confusing this with a different game, I think I might.
I mean, easy. It's the really messed up Unraveled. It looks like that's the vibe I get.
I mean,
all the
it's
time.
totally just Inside and Limbo and stuff.
Yeah,
just with
yeah.
more detail.
Yeah. I love both those games.
I'm a little annoyed at how long it takes to solve some of the puzzles, just in terms of like moving boxes around, because it's one of those things where you go,
It's very obvious.
I see the solution. I just don't want to have.
You need
to
a
drag
button
these
that
four
says,
things around.
Yeah.
"It's me, bitch."
Good full circle.
But yeah, people say it's terrifying, and
cool.
it's definitely got a mood,
Yeah.
and I am excited to play more. But I had to
sweet.
come and make this show. So that's everything that we've been playing. Let us know what you've been playing in the Discord. Head to patreon.com/backpocket to become a member of the Discord community at the $5 tier or more. We'll unlock all those sweet, sweet channels where you can talk to us about your sweet, sweet games. We'll be back with more sweet games from the future, in the future, after this word from our sponsor.
You need a Gus single that just has a default like slow zoom. There's some like really traumatizing music.
No, it would be.
As it
What's the
slowly
meme?
zooms in on his-
The nose is the penis of the face is like, it's kind of a useless thing that hangs around. It's also quite true. But like the boobs are like, they are to be looked at sometimes, not to be looked at.
My cousin got sick and the hospital bills are through the roof. It really got me thinking, if I ever got sick, what are we doing to protect our future and the future of our family?
That's an understandable fear. And I think we should do one simple thing, and that's contact the Learn Programming Academy.
Okay, I was thinking we would get life insurance.
Get your exclamation mark Tims out in the chat, because over 1 million people trust Tim from the Learn Programming Academy to deliver high quality, quick and affordable tutorials on how to code. And they're all videos, so you don't even need to know how to read. I know I can't.
But I'm worried about dying.
We all are. So why not live forever by coding a robot to transplant your old, disgusting organs for fresh new ones while you sleep? I'm sure it's possible.
I don't think it is.
Well, that's because you're stupid and you haven't contacted the Learn Programming Academy.
What the fuck did you just say to me?
The Learn Programming Academy. You'll give it a C++.
Talent.
Thank you very much to Brody H and Black Death for your word from our sponsors. Very good.
Talented.
Talent, very talented.
Very
and,
single.
Very.
Ouch.
Oh, it's so
What the fuck did you just say to me?
Can I say, and a big thank you, of course, to Tim, who sponsors every episode of the Somewhat Daily Backup, and one of the fan favorite commercials there for Tim. You and I were having a conversation yesterday. We were in here shooting something, and we were talking, and you just looked over sort of mid-sentence at Little Will's computer, and it was just, it just paused on the shot of Gus that says single, and Gus is talking to me, and he's like, yeah, so I think if we start it like that, then we can... Where was I? It was just
Brutal.
Blink, blink, blink.
Where was I?
Blink.
Alone. Yeah, so no.
But also, you saw in there the little tease for the merch shop. So, of course, there are two ways to get merchandise. The first way is by signing up to the Back Pocket Patreon at the $35 tier or more, and you get a T-shirt every 3 months with that.
We're back, baby.
We're back, baby
We're back.
tier.
We're back. Spelled
But then the
W-E-R.
second second way you can get merch is by heading to our Redbubble store, which is redbubble.com/people/back-pocket.
There it is.
And we got some new merch on there, Angus.
Yeah, we do. We decided we'll slowly be putting stuff up bit by bit as the weeks go on. Obviously, this is very distracting, but obviously the way Redbubble works is that you can apply designs to certain products, and we thought the best way to do it is to put bespoke designs on bespoke products. And the most bespoke of all of them, let's start with it, is of course the butt-on. The butt-on, great success with the pockety butt. We thought, why not put it on a button? So that is now available on the store as well, available in 2 sizes. You got little butt and, big badonkadonk, if you felt like a larger one. So we thought that was cute to put on there as well. A lot of people were asking, obviously.
It makes me giggle.
That is the sweetest giggle I've heard from you in a long time. A lot of people, we were doing the mug, which is where the butt originated, but we have done just the classic pockety mug as well, which of course has back pocket on one side and your OG pockety on the other, looking very innocent and pure. So if there's too much butts on your pockety mug, you can go with the classic as well. The mug itself, I should let everyone know, the best version of it is the classic mug. It is available in a tall mug. I would highly advise against that. It seems to stretch designs.
Yeah.
So, unless you're okay with that.
Just have 2 drinks out of a small mug.
Yeah, exactly. So
Normal
that's-
size mug. It's
the one down the front there.
That mug.
So that one is there as well. But also, you would have seen from the fact that there's a new pockety in the ad break who we're going to coin the sellout pockety. And we thought, why don't we put sellout pockety on a tote bag?
He loves shopping.
Because he
You
just
can go and buy
loves
your groceries
shopping.
and walk away with pocketing it.
We just thought he was pretty cute, and so he is on a tote bag as well. And I think there's a bit of confusion around the phone cases. The pockety design that we've slapped on the phone case says that it's for iPhone. You can click through a bunch of confusing menus and get to Samsung Galaxy cases, but just to make it easier, we've put that same design on its own item in the store. I think they come in a little dearer in the price department, but
but I think the prices actually changes for every individual model based on whatever they have.
If you click through that,
do.
there's like
You'll
soft
click
case,
on it
hard
and you'll
case,
find the one.
protective cases, all that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, we're going to hopefully add, if we come up with more pocketies and more designs as we go on, more ones on the store over the next couple of weeks. But I've seen some people sending in photos on the Discord of their mugs and things arriving, which all look great. As I said, we've got one down there. Yet to see anyone with a pockety face mask. We know they've been bought. I'm dying to see what they look like.
It may not have arrived yet because a lot of stuff was shipping from in Australia, and I'm not sure.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I don't know about that because
Yeah.
the shipping on the mugs and the phone cases is really fast.
Yeah. Oh,
there you go.
I bought one on Friday last week and it arrived yesterday. So this is my phone case there.
at that.
Or the pockety phone case. This is the hard, like
Rigid.
extra protection case, whatever it's called, which actually gives you the color the whole way around. And it looks fantastic. I love it. And I took it out of the box when it arrived. I knew what it was. I opened it up, took it out, and I pointed it at my son. I said, "Hey, Banj, who's this?" And Banjo and Elkie both looked up and they went, "Pockety!" And so they already know who the
that's
little
adorable.
mascot is. So yeah, it looks phenomenal, and you should get that stuff pretty fast.
Yeah, so we're going to, as I mentioned, slowly sort of put some extra products up there as we have good ideas. I think there's still a Discord thread for suggestions for anything.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, as Nick mentioned, we will be moving towards the custom limited designs to go on the whatever is shipped out with the We're Back Baby Patreon tier, which we will endeavor to do in the next couple of weeks.
shows, yeah.
Couple of shows. We'll come up with a design. So if you've got an idea, you can throw that in
Together.
Discord as well.
I think it's a massive T-shirt that's screaming, "It's me, bitch."
Yeah.
Is that it?
Was it a big button that says,
Yeah,
"It's me, bitch"?
yeah. I mean, that's when you say it like
forgot
that sounds awful. So head to the store and get your stuff. All right, let's move on to the next part of the show. Very excited about this because we wanted to take a look at the year ahead of us, the games coming up. What are we excited about playing? What do we think is going to be good? And what's the best way that we could do this? I twisted everybody's arm and I got them into fantasy. So it is time for the Pocket League Fantasy Draft presented by Nicritex. So thank you very much, Nigrotex, for sponsoring this. Of course, Nigrotex, as we know, every time he sponsors a segment, I head to his Twitter page and read out one of his tweets. This is from January 12th. Nick Belling, at Nick Belling, Nigrotex. For as long as I live, I'll never forget this comment, which was posted on my video resume. And then he's taken a screenshot of the comment. This is from a YouTube user called GrumpyCat, and this was on Nick's video resume. Great job, Nick. You are selected as the best candidate for the cocksucker regional manager position with a competitive salary. What makes this position even more great is that you could change the position and do other positions. Brackets, except doggy.
What? Oh my god!
That was a friend trolling.
It
right?
definitely sounds like a mate having it, like, putting in that much.
So funny.
That much effort. For anyone who doesn't know, Nigrotex got a little bit internet famous with his video resume. He put one together that went viral, and people were like, this is the perfect way to sell yourself for a job. Clearly, if someone writes a comment like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
it picked up a bunch of random views.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay.
love that so much. What I also love is fantasy sports, and we're putting fantasy sports in our video games. The way this works is to look ahead for the games that we're excited about. We are each going to draft 5 upcoming games from the 2021 release schedule. So this is going to be in a reverse snake format. We'll go one at a time down the draft line. We have randomized the order of who goes first to fourth. And then when we finish a round, instead of starting from the top again, the last person who picked in the first round is the first person to pick in the second round. So you get an advantage of picking first.
Sorry.
This seems like a list.
This looks like a list.
This is just a very long snaking list. Any game that is confirmed, assumed, or suspected to be released in 2021 is eligible for this. It doesn't need to be confirmed. You just have to think it's going to come out. And once a game is picked from the board, it cannot be picked by somebody else.
Yep.
We pick a game, we explain why we're excited about it or why we picked it, and then the next person picked. At the end of the year, the winner is the person whose team of games has the highest total Metacritic score. Now, we're not saying Metacritic is the be-all and end-all, but it's the easiest way to do this. So the total score from Metacritic at the end of the year of the 5 games the highest score is going to be the winner. Now, there are some websites that do this sort of fantasy drafting for video games, but they're quite complicated. They also involve like trading games and having like some sort of salary cap where you can buy and do. And I was like, I don't want to. I'm just happy you guys agreed to this in the first place. So like that could be a next year thing. So we're just going to start it really simple with this and do it this way. Are we ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just to summarize for anyone who might be confused because I don't understand sports.
Because you're
things.
confused?
Well, it took me a while to get the concept because I don't understand sport or fantasy sport or why. But now that you've explained it to me in the format that I understand, I think it's great. So we're each going to make a list of 5 video games. We're going to take turns and we can't choose a game that somebody else has chosen. And at the end of the year, we will look at the Metacritic scores of all those games, and the person who has the highest score based on the games that they were able to choose wins.
We'll
I don't
also
get it.
we'll check back in on the list throughout the year.
Yep.
So this can be a segment that will pop up from time to time when a bunch of the games have come out. We might just take stock and see how people are doing. Obviously, that won't dictate who's like for the final score because a bunch of these might, be later in the year. A bunch of them may get delayed beyond the point of being able to be.
Everything has been delayed so far.
Yeah, exactly. So
There's
think of that.
games that don't have an official release date.
Oh yeah, a heap. So think
And
of
if
that.
you choose one of those. Sorry.
No, well, think of that as an injury. So you're out. As Nick mentioned, there are usually ways to sub in people beyond that. I think we're just going with the system that if you lose one to a delay,
You just lose it.
you lose one.
Yeah.
So that's how that's going.
And then if it works well next year, we can expand it out.
God.
And before we start, Argan, one of our lovely mods, said that he is totally happy to run a community fantasy draft if people are keen, because I've seen a
Nice.
bunch of people in the chat say this is the great idea and they want to do it. So just ping in the Discord at Argan that you want to be a part of a back pocket community draft, and we can get that together as well. Okay.
The last thing I'll just mention to clarify it, we have all made lists beyond 5 games. It's
called a tier list.
There you go. It's called a tier list. And so we have extra games
for it.
to take into consideration that a bunch of them will get knocked off is the idea. So we all have, I think, we have 20 games at least.
Oh, I found this so stressful.
Yeah,
As
Steph
did
is
I.
really stressed out about
Yep.
this, and I'm excited.
So the idea being that, we will all at least end up with 5 games on our list.
Yep.
They may not be the 5 we wanted.
Because it's just like,
They won't be.
I'm not just choosing my favorite games.
No.
Something that I'm really good at is choosing the
It's
things
deeper.
that I like.
It's deeper.
Yep.
But having
Deeper.
to choose the games that I think will do well is stressful because I have to factor in other people's weird naked robot girl obsessions that might.
Hey, I
be
love naked
popular.
robot boys as well. Don't you do that to me?
But only if they're underage.
They have to be underage and naked. But that's true. My tactic, I'm just sticking to, I believe I have great taste. So I'm just going, games that I'm excited about, I'm going to back that they are going to score big.
Interesting.
I've done the same
Interesting.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we randomize the draft order because obviously you get a big advantage if you go first, but then the person who picks first also picks, their next pick is 8th. So the draft order is Pete, Gus, Steph, and then myself, and then for round 2 it'll be me, Steph, Gus, Pete, and then backwards and forwards like that.
All right.
Are we ready for pick number 1?
Will is on the hot keyboard ready
It's
to...
me, bitch.
You're in with the 101. Peter Burns, 2021 game. What are you picking?
My first pick is going to be, drumroll please, new Pokemon Snap.
What the fuck?
No, it's not.
It fucking is.
It really is.
That game is going to be 9.5 to 10 for sure because everyone who plays it is going to be riding high on nostalgia waves and they're going to give it huge scores.
Interesting.
Wow.
Interesting.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
it looks like I'm not crossing anything off my list.
No, I'm adding something to my list.
Wow.
That is the boldest 101 pick
Wow.
I have seen in any fantasy environment. But I reckon
Basically
it
picked
could
Far Lap years before he was famous.
Were you a fan of the N64 version, or did you play
Yeah,
that one?
it's the best game that was ever made.
It was a weirdly fun game. I hired it more than once.
It was the best game ever made.
He's doubling down.
Honestly, to me, yeah, I'm excited about playing it. I think it'd be really fun, and it's a travesty that there haven't been more. But I think the anticipation of this new one, it's a game that can't fail because it's so simple.
Yep.
And
it's got-
there will be people who don't like it, but it's going to score well because all it needs to do is replicate the joy of what the first one brought and not be anything more, just be it again and look really nice and feature all the new Pokemon and whatever. And just playing that again is going to be a joy and it's going to score well. You can't mark it down for it's going to work. It's such a simple mechanic of a game, so I feel like it's going to get a strong score no matter what.
Great choice. Great choice.
Cool. I
like
All
it.
right,
I like it.
Gus, now that your number 1 pick has been taken,
Not even on my list. I will also go with a Nintendo property, and I will also go with a sequel, and that game is Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 as my number 1 pick. Now, this is a little risky.
yeah.
Yes, it's risky.
It's risky, but I have faith, not just because I'm a diehard fan of the series and I was super in love with that game, is that the Zelda series, more than 50% of the time, are really smart with their sequels and come out with ones that are almost beloved, if not more.
But are you
than-
sure it's going to come out this year?
Yeah, that's why I think it's risky.
That's where we're at with everything. I've kind of put that at the back of my mind. I'm charging on.
No,
for-
I've got a whole list of amazing
insane.
games that I've just ruled out because I'm like, we are not going to see those this year.
I mean, I'm also being super optimistic. I think that game's going to come in and make. Yeah, it's going to make this year even better.
I didn't love it.
His second pick is that Blizzard cancelled Titan game. I think you're right in that it will score amazingly.
Yep.
I do not think that game's coming out this year, so I am impressed. But if it does, that's a
It's- yeah,
guarantee.
if it does-
Steph's updating her list now.
If it
What
does.
constitutes a year?
Are we going by the pagan calendar or the?
Okay,
What's
Breath
that?
of the Wild 2. What a
Yep.
choice.
There it is up on
let me
the
bring
list.
up-
For a second, I was like, it's
for a
not up
sec.
on my list yet, and then I realized there are 3 pockets there that look incredibly similar. And I was like, well, put it up.
Stephanie Bendixson.
I'm going to go.
Wow, this has thrown a wrench into everything already.
I'm going to go with Resident Evil.
8.
I
Village?
hate you. Okay.
Because I feel like the excitement is already so palpable. It feels like it's going to be a surefire win. I don't have a lot of experience with Resident Evil games, so it's not like this is like a pick for me that I'm just like, I'm going to love this and I know it's going to be great. I'm just like trusting that the hype is like so huge.
It's huge hype, and I think you've come in and made a strong, powerful woman. You've come in and trampled all over Nick's choice. It's a tall, powerful,
Am I no longer a
crushing,
Busty choice.
crushing choice, and you've stepped on his dreams.
Let me talk to you about Vor, Angus. So that's a great choice. That was my number one choice. It's coming out.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. I reckon it's going to do fantastic
It'll do
numbers.
gangbusters, man.
Yeah.
I think that 7 was so beloved.
Yeah.
And it really feels
It's
like,
gonna
even though we
cost
don't know
that.
too much about the game, it feels like they haven't made a misstep.
My favorite tweet that I saw was from Lucy O'Brien when she talked about, how they released, they were like, we're so excited that there's been like a large reaction to Lady Dimitrescu, and
We didn't expect this.
We didn't expect this. And yes, she is indeed very tall, but here's why you may also be interested to know that she is like, this is her exact height compared to other people
9.6.
when she has her heels on.
Yeah.
And it was like, Lucy wrote, she works for IGN, she goes, this is such a polite and lovely way to say, we see your horniness, and here's why you should be hornier.
That's so true. And I think her height was 9'6" as well.
Yeah.
Which I think is also a very subtle way of saying, reviewers, here is your score.
That's so good.
Will.
Okay, so my number one pick has been pipped. Resident Evil, great choice. So I will go to, I did have a backup. My round one pick is going to be what I think will be a guaranteed success. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. A game that I think there has nary been a misstep with the Ratchet and Clank series recently. It's not necessarily the games that do the biggest sales, but I think this one will, because it will be one of the few places.
What else is there to play? Yeah.
Yep. But it looks incredible, and I think that Sony have so much riding on this title that it will be incredible, and basically the Ratchet and Clank games always are. So for me, surefire hit. We know it's coming out this quarter, and I don't think they can afford to delay it. So Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is my 101. So
Does this mean you get to go again?
it does.
Son of a bitch.
So this is actually, for me, this is the hardest choice, because it's like, I choose this and then I have another 7 games gone until this point.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take a slight risk. I think this game will come out this year.
Yeah, I've got all of mine. I'm now like, shit.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of the delay, yeah, that's the thing I'm terrified about.
So I think it's coming out this year because I think that it's been teased enough.
Yep.
It's been long enough.
Yep.
And when it does come out, it will probably be a 10 out of 10.
Oh.
I'm gonna pick two.
He knows what it's going to be.
Yeah.
He's going to play it. That game is Hollow Knight Silksong. Hollow Knight Silksong is the 201 pick.
My number 3.
A game that I have been waiting for since the first Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight, like, for me, is up there, I would say, is trying to get into, if not is in, my top 10 games. And it's also just one of those all-time 2D action platformer games as well. The team who makes Silksong have worked so hard on this. It was originally supposed to be this expansion that they've turned into the whole thing. The hype for it is huge.
That's the thing that gives me faith in it, that it was originally planned as an expansion. They clearly were reaching, I think even with the first game, like they had more ambition than that they put out in that first game. And so that's why I think this one is just going to be an absolute, like...
I think it will be a brilliant game. It's been teased for a long time. I still think it could be
delayed
another year away.
That's why I was like, it's a big risk, and there are plenty of games here that I've got that I know will be coming out this year. But if this lands, I just feel like it's going to be beloved. So Hollow Knight Silksong off the board, which
list
brings
as
us
well.
back to Steph.
Hello.
So my second choice was going to be Ratchet and Clank. So we are pip for pip. I think let me just.
Is the what we're looking at the moment.
See,
wait.
this is what I do with half my week. When I'm not reading, playing video games, or with the family, I am just fantasy sportsing.
You definitely have. You do more with your hours than anyone else in the world.
Yeah, that's true. That's
All right,
so true.
you look dejected.
I think this is potentially risky.
I think every pick from now on is going to be risky.
Yeah,
Don't
I'm going to
stress.
make my second pick 12 minutes.
Oh, interesting.
Oh no!
Brutalizing his list.
Well, I feel like we
Fucking
I feel like we have a lot of similarities in the way we think.
God bless you,
And,
Stephanie Bendixson. What a choice.
Yeah, I feel like we've been waiting for that game for a long time. That was supposed to come out this past year.
It's supposed to have, like, it got
Or even-
teased like 2.5 years ago or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. And I don't know how complex the game it is to make, but I think it's doing something that's really interesting. I think it's going to be critically well received.
Yep.
I think people are going to find it a unique take on storytelling, and I'm really excited about it. So I feel like it's a good choice. It's just a question of whether it will come out this year. If it's been delayed once, it can be delayed 1,000 times, and so.
I'm actually the opposite. I think that it
Really?
definitely will come out this year.
Okay.
And it could be a massive fucking flop. Oh. It is like, it looks so interesting and cool, but it could
People
be.
have high expectations.
People have very high expectations, and it could be such a fleeting game, like that it might just be like, I see what they were doing, and it kind of just falls a little bit flat.
I mean, I would say this about every single game, but it is incredibly execution dependent. It's like
Yeah.
a brilliant idea that you just go, okay, you're just going to replay this 12 minutes over and over until you solve the mystery.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, that is the most me video game I've ever heard.
Totally.
But
if the
it's-
storytelling is really good and if the performances are really good, which with the cast that they have, I feel like
Yep.
it
Yeah,
will be.
totally.
Yep.
I
think-
feel like it can. I feel like it can get there.
I'm with you. I think it's going to be great, and I think I have total faith in it. But Pete, the hesitation is totally there. That it's like if you whiff on it, you have nothing else. Like it's not like you go, Batman Arkham City was the combat was great, the story wasn't awesome, but the combat saw it through. It's like 12
Yeah.
minutes only has that one mechanic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And it'll nail it.
To just like see where we're at the moment.
There's our first.
Very nice.
First couple picks.
A lot of good games up there.
They are.
lots of good games. There's still lots of good games on the list. Gus, what's next for you?
So, I was pipped with, what did you put up?
Hollow Knight.
Hollow Knight. So, I'm going to move down my list, and my second pick will be Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2. This is was announced at the Game Awards.
Yep.
It's a Xbox, I think it's going to be on the Game Pass, is the idea. I loved the original. I know it got mixed-ish reviews, but mixed to positive. But I think Ninja Theory, who worked on it, have been pioneering this game to look just like the I know it was a pre-rendered cutscene, but the trailer they released for it was just mesmerizing. And so personally, like many of these games, I'm invested in this being good. But I think they took such an interesting approach with the previous game, with a lot of those elements that were to do with the voices, the spin on kind of mental health and all that kind of stuff, but dressed in this amazingly sort of immersive design of a kind of like, I guess you'd call it kind of like, was it Nordic meets kind of like...
It was Nordic, but she herself was a Pict character, so
Right.
she came from like a early Celtic.
Yeah, okay, that's right.
but it was all runes and stuff.
And I just thought it was a game that like had heaps of potential, but they obviously had more ideas, kind of like with, not Hollow Knight, but it's like the developers wanted to do more with it and wanted to tell a bigger story.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this game will be, and I think this will be a real step up for...
It's such an interesting pick because, I would say Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice was did so well based on the way they approached mental health and the storytelling that was really unique. Mechanically, as a game, it wasn't great, and the gameplay
Yeah.
was quite repetitive and stuff. But there were a
But
small
that's the
studio.
stuff I reckon they can work on now.
Now they're going to
They
have heaps more money.
Yep. Yeah.
And be able to kind of do so much more and learn from whatever they've done. So it could be amazing, or it could be like
for anyone who's not aware, Microsoft bought Ninja Theory, the studio that made Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. I think before they even put the game out, but at that point the game was already going to come out on more than just Microsoft platforms.
And the woman who played Senua, won, I think, at the Game Awards, best
performance.
So I'm putting my faith behind that because I think it's going to be a great game, but I think it'll also, critically be really successful.
It's hard because we're getting put into a weird position here, but where I'm like, I want all games to be good.
Sure.
But I want that game to suck now.
Yeah, totally. I was excited about Resident Evil, and now I'm not. Very true. Which brings us back to Pete.
And I got a double, don't I?
You got a double.
Ooh.
Works.
All right. I'm going to do one from the heart and one from the head.
Good
And I'm
choice.
going to start with the heart. I'm going to go Back 4 Blood.
Wow, nice.
Boo.
You wanted that?
No, it's that.
Left 4 Dead is like...
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I agree.
This is just Left 4 Dead again.
You know what? You have your spiel.
Yeah, let me talk. I picked it.
I'm sorry.
Back 4 Blood is the spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead. It's made by Turtle Rock, the people that made the first one, under Valve. They went and made Evolve. Evolve was a beautifully made game, but the concept wasn't as strong. Another asymmetrical multiplayer game. 1 monster versus 4. Now, what are you writing about? But Back 4 Blood is going to be back to the same old 4v PvE or 4v4 humans against monsters, doing the same old thing. Everyone's been hanging out for Left 4 Dead 3. It's not going to happen. So I think this will be really cool. I think this will be a great game, and I'm looking forward to playing it. So I hope it is good, and I hope it's worthy of having on my list.
We've still played like Left 4 Dead 2, like in random lands and stuff when we've all been like, what can we play with a heap of people? So it definitely still like, there's a market for people to want that kind of game. I'm critical because I think like people have such a love for that series and they wanted it to be something that it's now not going to be.
Yeah.
Personally, and this is really personal, I saw the trailer and it lacked any of the kind of clever, interesting character development. And again, that
There's nothing interesting about the characters in Left 4 Dead.
I was going to say.
Whoa, roll that
One of them
back.
wears a cool hat.
Whoa, Coach has a baseball shirt.
I disagree strongly. Both games had characters that became like everyone loves them now, and they had those real Valve cutscenes that just told interesting stories that showed a lot of that world in a very small amount of time. The trailer for Back 4 Blood looked like absolute dog shit. It was just characters.
Well,
like
Senua's Sacrifice is going to be shit.
oh,
Nice.
My other pick is from the head again. We're going to go with
Because he gets to choose again.
He does.
Yeah. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
Yeah.
It's going to score well. And this is the point where we point out that the Metacritic score that we're using is the critic score, not the user score, because there's a lot of people out there who are going to just slam this game because it's got Rey in it. And fuck those people. This game is going to be Lego games are always awesome. Lego Star Wars games always land well.
Yep.
I think it'll score really well.
Great choices.
Yeah, I don't really feel passionate about Lego Star Wars. I know that they do well, and there's a new one coming.
No. Good moves. Good moves all around.
Let's see the list at the moment.
Gus.
oh man. I mean, neither of those were my picks, so
So
it
stressful.
hasn't
I
affected that.
feel really confident about my first 2 picks, but now I'm just like,
I have ones I have lower on the list that I want. I want them to be up there, but I just do not think they're going to make it this year.
Release date wise.
Yeah, and it's like
That's what I keep
I would 100% put that in there, but is it the risk of it might be do I pick a lesser
I know what you're thinking.
a game?
I know the 2 games you're thinking right
Yeah.
Do I pick something that's a little bit?
Everyone knows what we're thinking about.
Yeah, that is literally
Mega
what
Bus, that's not going to come out this year, I don't think.
No, but it's there up in the top of my list, as is.
But if it
One-
does, holy hell.
Well, as is another game that I've decided.
And you got
to
to
push
bet high to win big.
No. I will roll down and I will land on Deathloop as my next game.
Interesting choice.
What are you giggling
It's
about?
gonna be shit.
I don't think it's going to be the top.
You have to come play fantasy football with me.
I don't think it's going to score a 10, but I think it's going to be an 8.5 to a 9. And I think it's going to be a solid choice that still gets in there and that people are going to find that they
I
actually
love that
really...
you're aiming for 8s.
Well, I mean, at this point now, like a good 8. Yeah, look,
No, so
Solid 8.
There was when I put together my tier list initially.
Yep.
Deathloop was like my 1 or 2 pick.
Same.
And then I kept looking at the list. I kept going, junk, 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 and realizing the more I thought about Deathloop, the more I was like, I'm really excited for this, but oh boy, like if they fuck this is just going to be a train wreck game.
Sure.
And it's either going to be amazing or it's just going to be so middling that no one, in the same way that like Wolfenstein was incredible, and then the Wolfenstein with the twins was just like people were like, pfft.
It's an 8 or it's a 4 kind of thing.
Yeah,
I
Rock Wallaby said 8s don't pay the bills.
they do if everyone else's games get cancelled.
That's true.
And I will say, eight start paying the bills in the 3rd round.
Yes.
Like in this round, that's where you're starting to going. We've probably burnt through the locked in.
I've still got at least 2 10s on this list that no one's even thinking about.
that you think are definites for this year?
Yeah.
How exciting!
Okay, well let's move around and
So Deathloop. So Deathloop, and
Oh, bless.
you're quietly confident for it.
quietly confident that it'll be an 8.5.
I'm sorry. I'm just throwing some back
Yeah,
back when you're like
Shane's
back
coming
for
this way.
blood.
The next choice is Stephanie.
Okay. Let me just review.
You're going to take my pick. I know you are.
as well.
I know you
I
are.
don't think so. I have like a weird pick, and then I have like I don't know.
We'll pick away. So you're tossing out whether to go the weird
I'm
one.
gonna leave the weird one because I feel like if there's more, it's more likely to be. Oh fuck! I don't know.
You know what I love?
How do you do this? This is so stressful.
I put all of my life into it. No, it is
Like
insanely
I don't
stressful.
gamble in any way.
Oh, you
and
must.
even
It's
when
great
there's
feeling.
nothing at stake,
Yeah.
I just am feeling like deep anxiety.
So-
I know, that's the joke. You got to ride that anxiety. And
So let it ride.
The benefit of this is there's nothing literally
that's
nothing
true.
riding on it.
So while you're thinking about it, I'm in a dynasty football league, and what that means is we did our initial draft where we drafted like 25 players. It took hours and hours, and then every year all the rookies that come into the NFL. We do a rookie draft where you take them, you kick out people from your old team, but you only kick out enough to bring in the new rookies. So you hang on to those players for years and years and years. So it's like this feeling of like a decision that I make now will affect me in 5 years' time. Oh, it's the best. It's like, I don't do drugs, but I do fantasy sports. Steph.
Okay, I'm gonna choose It Takes Two.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
what?
That was
Yeah,
on.
it is weird.
Yep.
It's weird,
Yep.
and like
was this the weird
my
pick?
list.
This was the weird.
Yep, it was on my list too.
Yeah, I feel like it looks like it could be really fun and interesting and surprising in lots of ways. The art style looks kind of wacky in a Little Big Planet-y kind of way. And I don't know, when I watched it, it was the first thing that I watched of all the games that were coming out this year that I was like, oh, I didn't know that was happening, and it seems unexpected.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that critically it'll just be really cool and
Catch other people unawares.
yeah,
kind of thing,
totally, and be really surprising.
We're going to do a playback series of it together.
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
Takes two. Okay.
Cut to me, like, stop it, Peter.
Yeah, that's the point, I think.
Always doing that.
I want
If our relationship can survive, it takes two.
I want the playback, and then I want like a montage cut from a GoPro in the car on the hour and a half drive home.
It's just this.
I'll watch that without cuts. Amazing.
So,
Nick boy.
I get two.
Get a double.
So, there's still good games on here, and it means that after I make this pick,
Here's the list again.
I've only got one more after this double. So my first one is going to be an indie choice. I'm going with the newest upcoming Fulbright joint, Open Roads.
Cool.
Never heard of this.
So it got announced at the Game Awards, starring Kerry Russell and Caitlin Dever, who was from like Justified and Booksmart. Awesome actors. It's a mother and daughter on a road trip, discover a sort of cache of old notes and letters, and they go on a road trip. But Fulbright, being gone home, being Tacoma, being like storytelling masters, this feels like one of those games that hopefully they need to nail the story, but if they do, it's just like, oh, this is a beautiful examination. And also the idea that Fulbright generally makes stories about people who often don't get games made about them, and this is a mother and daughter on a road trip, and like we have worked our way through the years of father and son games. Like we have done your God of Wars, and like we have done that story, and this is like a new thing. So I think that breath of fresh air as well could be something that lends it.
Did you see Lady Bird? Was it Lady Bird?
I haven't seen Lady Bird, but I know.
Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah.
Saoirse Ronan.
Saoirse Ronan.
It's got Lady Bird vibes. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, big time. And so then my second pick, I'm tossing. So I'm going big, like AAA game at this point, and it's just about which one I go for. Mm-hmm. And I think the answer will be one that I get an answer to relatively soon. Ooh. And that game is going to be Monster Hunter Rise.
So, that was one of the ones I said is on my list and you're not thinking of, but you were thinking of it the whole time.
I've always been thinking of you, Monster Hunter Rise. Monster Hunter Rise, I think that there was a demo out for it.
Yep.
Very well received.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Monster Hunter in general, very well received, and I think
Very passionate fan base.
yeah, and I think like you as well, I'm playing a bit of the literally meta critic game where the people who are given Monster Hunter Rise to review are people who love Monster
Give that
Hunter.
one to me. I'm a fan of it.
It's like
Totally.
they don't give Pete Persona to review. They give it to Nick. So in the same So I think it's.
So
probably
you think it's going to be a highly biased reviewed game?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But then I also think that the fact that it's coming out on Switch and it's now portable again, and the last Monster Hunter World, which was beloved, was only on PC and consoles.
The last portable one was 3DS, I believe.
Yeah, and so it's going back to the portable nature of it, and that's probably something that will be that will give it some extra kudos as well. So,
Yeah, I liked it because Monster Hunter always does well, and I think this one is, and it could work against it, I guess, but I think this one is being at least sold with a bit more of a broad appeal. I think just like the way that the world is built. Again, the thing that I didn't enjoy when I was playing Monster Hunter was how like it felt like you just moved into different like corridors with big wallpaper wrapped in wallpaper.
Totally. Yep.
And this is like
you've got to go for that game.
Totally, and it didn't really detract from the game, but it felt a little frustrating to walk one way and hit a wall. Where this is like you got a grappling hook and the world is your oyster, and it's going to be great on Switch. It's going to look like a powerhouse on like powerful.
And it's a big jump up in terms of that kind of mechanic for Monster Hunter, but it's a jump up that basically just brings it into here's what modern games are like.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter World looked great, played great, but it was a feeling of like I'm really playing a game that's kind of 10 years old that looks shiny.
Sure, but that game was held up as like the Monster Hunter to draw in a new audience as well. So to Pete's credit, it's like, oh, sorry, who picked it? You picked it.
Me.
You. Sorry, to Nick's credit, it's like that legwork has been done, and now you have a larger fan base that might be like, I'm ready for the next version. Although Pete mentioned, I'm a little out of the loop on this one. The Deathloop high-scoring game, go check it out. I thought this was a Switch.
If you're a reviewer, give it a 10.
There you go.
It is.
It is. It's a Switch. It's going to be a Switch exclusive, so it'll only be. A Switch
Oh, is it exclusive?
I believe it's a Switch exclusive.
Well, let's bring on that Switch 2 because I want to look a little better.
Yeah, I think a lot of people said it's a little rough around the edges, but the fans of that series aren't there for the graphical integrity.
Bad pick then. Really?
Timed exclusive, says Bluey.
Timed exclusive. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
I
right.
thought so.
Yeah, bad pick, like a Back for Blood.
Okay, so that is me done until my final pick, which brings us back to Steph.
Okay, I'm going to choose.
No phone. You're confident. Go for it. Sorry, I didn't.
I've just been reviewing my options, and I've just been Googling release dates to make sure. Yep. So I'm going to choose Horizon Forbidden West.
Okay.
There it is. Someone had to take it.
Yeah, I don't feel super confident about this choice. I feel like the first game was awesome, but I think as a sequel, it's going to be really difficult to make it different enough that people feel like it's a cool evolution for the franchise.
Totally.
And a big open world game like that gets very samey when it's just like, oh, I'm moving through this area and I have to kill all these robot things, and then I'm gonna, and they'll introduce a few new mechanics to be like, hey, she has this power now and stuff like that. But I don't feel like often developers do a good enough job with sequels of making it a significant enough departure from the first game. And I feel like this could well do that. But, I mean, I think it's going to be a great game regardless, and it's going to look beautiful, and it'll have a stunning
If it's as good as the last game, it's going to be a brilliant game. It might lose points for not doing enough new.
Yeah, I think it's getting between like a 7.5 and an 8. If it just executes what it says it's going to execute.
Yeah.
The surprise won't be there, and I never finished the first one, but from what I heard, it kind of like wrapped up a lot of the just like what you want to know about this world, and so then going, okay, like I didn't have a lot of people I saw going like, I don't really have any more questions about this.
Yeah.
And then my other question would be if it actually hits its release date, because we've only seen one trailer and they've gone pretty dark. But yeah. But I think that it gets over those two things and we're good to go.
Look at those games. They're all awesome games. We're going to play all of these and they're all going to be sick. But I want yours to be a little bit less sick.
What I love about this process is that you look at the games and you go, examine, am I buying into the hype for this thing? Like, what do I actually think about this upcoming thing that comes out? Because so many games that started high on my list, I actually ended up just drifting down because the more I thought about it, the more I'm going, oh no, this is really...
This conversation
there
is
could
totally
be nothing there for me.
Totally.
Yeah.
To me, Deathloop could be the best game that comes out this year, or very average.
Yeah, or just we'd forget about it like 2 weeks later.
Yes.
Allow me to add another one of those games
Please.
to my list. And that is a game that I know from experience. And
Call of the Hunt 7.
Oh, God, I wish. I know from my experience, and at least one other person's on this couch's experience, that it is a fun game they've had a lot of fun with. The hope is that when it does come out, everyone else will find that fun, that it'll find its audience, and of course it does come out this year. And the game I'm talking about is, of course, Roller Champs. That is a game that I'm quietly confident about having a decent to good high score when it comes out and is received well.
Yeah.
Wow.
My only concern with that game is it looks like whenever it is released, it feels like a game that's only going to get better the longer it's out. You know, it feels like a game that they've got a structure, and they did it with the beta, and they were like, here's what the game is. There will be more to this when it comes out.
That was my number 5.
There'll be more when it comes out, but I also think when it does come out, it will be like, cool, we'll have arenas later on and leagues will be built around it and hopefully people stay with it. But I don't know.
I don't know that that's a valid concern. I feel like the core of the game was working so beautifully 18 months ago when we played the demo. Mm-hmm. That's what they've been building.
Yeah.
It's going to like be really fleshed out at launch.
I hope so.
I hope that it maintains that the mechanic is fun enough to maintain 50 hours of gameplay at least, you know. I think it will be based on what we've played, but I don't know. But
not since Rocket League have I played a game that just felt like, oh, this is a fun new take on a competitive, small, not just the arena and those similarities, but like it was scratching that same itch that was just like, it was competitive, but it was fun while it was happening. It wasn't like, it was a lovely experience and just a fun coat of paint around it all. And I have faith that it'll be out this year, and I think it will be a pleasant surprise for all.
Yeah, cool. No, That's a good pick. That's a good pick. Peter,
you're going above Deathloop.
Oh, I get to close out my list here, and I still have 2 separated floating at the top of the list.
Yeah, right. When we're done, can we have a quick little debrief of some that like fell off?
Yeah,
that we were like, okay, cool.
Okay, so I'm gonna. I just had a bit of beer, and it was like floating its way back out, and I didn't want to just belch into the microphone.
Who would do that?
Who would do? Total War Hammer 3.
What the fuck?
Nice choice.
Really?
Total War Hammers
Nice choice.
are always like very good versions of Total War. They come with the lore of Warhammer, which is so rich. Mm-hmm. A thing like Troy, like Total War Troy, can't do because they have to make it from scratch. Total Warhammer 2 is like a brilliant game with a lot of solid storylines through it, and mechanically the Total War games are always really enjoyable, and I feel like they hinge on the narrative stuff being interesting to elevate them to that extra level.
Okay.
Where a Troy is a 7, a Warhammer is always a 9, and I feel like Warhammer 3 is going to come in really, really hot because 2 was great. And I think 3 they'll only do better because again they just need to nail the mechanics, and I feel like Troy was almost like just the let's make sure we're happy with how everything's working in the Total War engine right now, and then let's put the skin on and we're rich again. Creative Assembly are like, here we go, baby. So I really think it'll be like it'll do really well critically. Again, they're not necessarily the biggest sellers, but
Doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be. They've just got to review well, and I feel like it'll knock it out of the park. And I mean, this last one is like a pure. This is my 4 on my list, but it's something I've got to put on there, and it's Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
I can't not put it on the list.
Do you think it's going to make 2021? They've said late.
They've said now that it is late.
I'm concerned that it won't review well.
Well, there's so many that are like, yeah, it could.
I'm not.
Really?
No, I'm.
Oh,
no, it won't.
You're not.
You're betting on that.
That's what I want, baby.
Well, I mean, sure. Like 5 didn't review well. 4 did. 5 has been the only quote unquote dud of the series, and 5 gained a bit of love throughout its lifespan. Infinite, obviously, there's like people out there who just hate Halo because they associate Halo and Microsoft, and a lot of the hate you see for that trailer was just Sony fanboys going like, "Oh, that skin looks shit." But I'm glad they've gone back to the drawing board. I'm glad that some of the old Bungie crew are on in kind of executive positions now for the next 12 months, kind of leading up to release. If it comes out, I think it'll be really good. I don't know that it's going to be. It's not going to be a 10 out of 10 game, but I think it will be. My hope is that it's good enough for Halo fans to get heaps out of it. And yeah, it's a fingers crossed at the bottom of my list. Please be a 9. Please be a 9, Halo. I love you. I love you so much.
That's not my remark. Heat Halo is a risk. It could tank your list. You were doing so well.
Well, it's not my list if it's just Total War and Lego Star Wars.
That's true.
You had to do one heartfelt
Yep.
manifestation pick.
Yeah.
Totally. All right, Angus.
I mean, this is actually my toughest because, like you guys
Same.
said, you have a few that you were juggling. I have like an indie hopeful and a AAA good to meh.
Oh, I reckon we have the same one. Yep.
Okay, so I'll let you have that because I'm gonna put my money on the old 3-legged horse at the back. That I'm like, you know what? He might just have a little spark of life left
Don't
in him.
choose my 3-legged horse.
I can put money on the fact that it's not going to be.
Okay.
Peggle 3! Spy boy.
So this is a choice that comes from the fact that I played the previous game. I like doing this little mystery thing at the start.
Yep.
For pissing
No,
you
this is
guys off.
good. This is good.
Back to when I was a child.
The previous game I enjoyed, but it didn't reach its full potential, but it allowed the devs to really find their footing. They have now announced this game
It's like we're reading the back of a Fantail.
Yep.
cover.
I'm Leonardo DiCaprio.
If you put Leonardo DiCaprio in your list, you're going to do well.
I could have made room on the board for both of us. I am Leo. No, I'll skip to the end. My indie hopeful.
I know what it is.
You don't.
Yes, I do.
Tell me.
I reckon it's Psychonauts 2.
Sons of the Forest.
What the
I
fuck?
don't know what it is.
Heard about it.
What is Sons of the Forest?
Sons of the Forest is the sequel to The Forest. Survival game.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. So it was announced at the Game Awards. It's by Endlight Games. It looks, the trailer they dropped.
You're a weird egg, mate.
Dolphin Pants just said, this keeps getting worse.
Dolphin Pants, this isn't for you. The previous game, while it had a very slow, from its early access
Oh,
to
I
its finished
played it.
product,
And my memory of playing the forest was just like mashing bodies on the ground.
A little bit of that.
Like, oh,
Yep.
sorry.
Yeah, you had like that dull machete. You're like,
and things out of the but it was broken in the sense that they were overreaching.
Did you ever go down the big hole?
Oh god, yeah. I explored everything that game had to offer, and I loved its ambition, but I hated the way that it was like the devs literally had a roadblock where they're like, oh, we
So
didn't
you've
do
got
anything.
the baby spider?
Yeah. They were like, we don't have anything beyond
And I
this.
clarify, that's a
Made
spider
of-
made of babies?
Made of babies.
Baby spiders or babies?
babies.
Okay.
There were points where they were
Human
like,
babies.
there were points where like the devs hadn't gone beyond here, and it's like they had so much potential in the world building and the setup of what they were trying to tell. The sequel looks like it's finally delivering on all those kind of things.
Yeah.
The original's Metacritic is actually reasonably high, so I'm betting on a little bit of that I feel like it'll carry its fan base across. This is hopefully a full release game. I think there's an early access, but I do think they have
I
plans.
hope there's not an early access because The Forest
That's
was
fine.
the early access for Sons of the Forest.
Yeah, essentially that's what I'm betting on.
Yeah.
So yeah, have a look at the trailer. It's kind of like it's got a lot in it. It's like
Yeah, no, I
there's-
remember the trailer
there's
is actually
flashes
cool,
to
yeah.
like living in an
Isn't there a
apartment.
plane crash again though?
I think there's a plane crash,
Yeah.
but like there's the whole cannibal sub story and stuff. Anyway, I'm intrigued by it, and I think it could come out as this like they've had the whole previous game to develop on it.
Yeah.
So that is what I picked.
That is so weird.
It is a bit weird, but you know.
So weird.
All right, Gus and I are done.
So we're done, which leaves
So,
only.
Sons of the Forest?
I think it's Sons of the Forest
All
or
right.
Son.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Sons of the Forest.
Stephanie.
Nick took a note then, but the note was idiot.
It could be the sleeper. It could be that
sleeper.
game
It
where
could be
you
a
just
sleeper
go,
for sure.
no one was counting on it.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
not bad.
feel
Not bad.
confident in any of the games that I haven't left on my list.
I also think it'll come out in a lull. There'll be like nothing else coming out, then that'll come
Yeah.
out.
You know
Okay.
what? The thing is, what it could be is one of those games like Ark, which did not review well, but became very popular.
Yeah.
Then I'm
and
fucked.
got better. And
But that's the Forest as well. And like the Ark 2 and the Forest are kind of like resets for these games that
Yeah.
were like okay survival games when they came out and helped be part of kind of the kind of shitty boats help rise the tide as well.
yeah.
I don't know. But they were like
No, that's the saying.
yeah, that's the same. These games that were like okay, meanderingly okay within this space, but because they existed, survival games have just grown and grown and grown and grown.
Everyone took notes from everyone and learning.
And they've become better and better throughout
Yeah.
the last few years as well. So
Steph.
I feel like I'm going to choose like a random not AAA thing because I feel like I have a better bet with something smaller.
Yep.
So I'm going to choose Jet the Far Shore.
oh wait,
That
is that
was
the
on my list as
maybe.
like I was still tossing it up there at the end.
Yeah,
Get
I
the Far
believe
Shore.
so.
Yeah. It looks cool. It looks interesting. The art style looks really unique.
I think
Yeah.
that's
Looks like
what
it's-
grabbed me. Yeah.
It looks like it's going to have a great story. I feel like for me, that's my safest bet because I feel like any of the kind of larger games are just too risky because all of them I feel like could be terrible. I feel like Far Cry 6 could be super underwhelming. I don't know if it'll come out.
Yeah. 5 was great.
Ghostwire Tokyo.
They
could be
on and off.
amazing.
They on and
Oh,
off.
it's
as well.
definitely not coming out.
Definitely not coming out. Okay, well, good.
No,
Ghostwire
like
Tokyo.
according to me, like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I just think.
And of course, like the
I felt like that one. You're like, I would never choose that.
the elephant.
no, I thought it'd be good too, but I'm like,
Yeah,
that,
I still got to pick.
Yeah, no, I know.
Oh, right, okay, cool.
But but you're the only one to pick, and the elephant in the room is like God of War Ragnarok. But that's I just feel so
That's not-
unlikely to
that's
come
not
out.
gonna come out.
Nick?
I picked God of War. No. So I now have all the games left to choose from. I am tossing up between 4 now. Jet was on there as the 5th. I'm with you. I don't think God of War is coming out. So do you want me to tell you the 4?
Yeah, tell us the full. I think that's
Sorry, you've
interesting,
got
yeah.
4 you're choosing between now.
Yep.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So my soul wants to pick this, but it could not be good. Is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline?
That would be terrible.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
going to
it
be
could
bad.
be terrible.
Yeah.
The first one is so beloved, but it was very much of its time.
Yep.
And what I've seen of the sequel, I just don't.
It looks janky,
It looks
yeah.
bad.
And like the development process of it has been Halo Infinite bad, so
Yep.
that doesn't bode well.
Right? So Nick has 3.
So
we shouldn't be saying this. We should be letting him like.
no.
No. This is
agree.
what I
He
want.
wasn't-
Yeah,
putting-
this
he
is why I'm
wasn't.
putting these out there to
Yeah.
like because I mean you not to get your opinion, but yeah. But I agree that
Fine.
Vampire ones.
Vampire Masquerade could be really great.
There you go.
should consider it for your final pick.
Thank you, Big Boy Habit. We love you too.
it's
I
fun.
was thinking Call of Duty 2021.
Those things can get like pumped out.
And it's like,
can't
but it's
they?
like a goddamn dice roll with that. It's like
Yeah.
we had a slightly off year this year. I feel
Is
like.
Kit Harington in this one?
Yeah, I know. Is any actor in this one going to be the bad one? So I don't think I'm going to go with COD,
Yep.
which leads me to the 2 that I've been. So this AAA one I've been tossing up the whole time, and I've wanted to pick it every time, Gotham Knights.
Yeah.
And Gotham Knights is a game for me that could be amazing.
So you picked that? You've picked that?
No.
Oh,
Because I think I'm going with my final
I don't think
one,
it could
but
be
Gotham
amazing.
Knights-
I think it could be a solid, like,
I
hey,
think it could be like Gotham Arkham,
Is that coming out
Nice.
this year?
yeah,
Yeah.
apparently.
For sure.
like as far as we
pretty
know, for
likely,
sure.
yeah.
But the one I'm going to go for is I'm trusting the pedigree of the developers because they have developed quite a few games.
What is Cliff Blazinski up to?
So it's from Thunderful Games. They developed the SteamWorld series of
Steamworld,
games.
dig Steamworld.
And my fifth pick is The Gunk.
Oh,
The Gunk.
is that like a PS5 exclusive?
I don't know if it's I don't think it's an exclusive. I think it's on. I think it's on PC as well.
Funny.
What a
Wow.
weirdo.
Gunk, which I think was. I think it was revealed in the PlayStation Showcase or
Maybe
the
that's what I'm
Xbox show.
thinking.
Maybe the Xbox. Right.
Ah, right.
And it was one of those ones where we were like,
Could we have picked GTA 5? Because that was in the showcase as well.
well, no, we did have a
We-
rule
we
where
ruled out
Yeah,
like
Remakes
or
and
remasters.
Because I was
Yeah.
thinking, oh, sorry, not to cut you, like the near
near
replica.
replica.
But it's a 2013 game, I think. Or
Yeah,
something.
it's
Yeah.
the
Very
original.
good.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the same with like Mass Effect. The same
Yeah.
with a few things. But no, the Gunk for me is a bit of a roll of the dice. But the
Totally.
SteamWorld games always are fantastic.
They were wonderful.
They review their ass off. No one plays them.
Yeah.
Dig 1 and 2, Tactics, and
SteamWorld, they had that card game version.
and then Tactics was the the bullet bouncer around. Which is great.
So the Gunk is my fifth pick with that one. Okay, should we do some honorable mentions of ones that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
I've still got a list of
Totally.
things.
Yeah,
I didn't
exactly.
My
know.
honorable
Yeah.
mentions also are like ones that I know won't make it. Like, sorry, definitely won't come out this year. But I just
Yeah.
still have them on my list for some reason.
Yeah, cool. I'll go first because
Just
I
go
roll
one at a
first.
time.
Yeah.
One of them out.
I still had Scorn as an option.
Interesting.
Gone.
God of War. Scorn is the Geiger horror
The penis ship.
penis ship thing.
that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. It could be really cool, and like we're like frothing for more Dead Spacey style games, and that's
Sure.
still like 2 years away. That other one, so Scorn was on my list. God of War Ragnarok I was never really going to pick, but it had to be on a list because it's going to be sick when it does come out. Far Cry 6 I wasn't confident would be
all
good.
must have
had
We'll
that
have similar
sitting
things.
somewhere, but it's
Gotham
like-
Knights I had. A couple of the cool indie ones that I don't know will be good, but I hope are good.
Have Gotham Knights.
Kenna Bridge of Spirits.
I had that as well.
To me,
And-
that's one of those games that will be good but not great.
Yep.
And yeah,
Yep. And I had Ghostwire Tokyo as well, which looks super cool.
I had Humankind also.
Yeah, nice.
Ghostwire Tokyo, I feel like could be terrible.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like a base of nothing, but it has that potential to be like, oh god, there's nothing.
Have they
Yeah,
really
yeah,
set
yeah.
up what kind of game it is though yet?
Just a cat running around a dumpster in a Tokyo neon sexy city.
So it's that genre.
It's gonna be cool. Yeah. And my last one,
sorry.
my last one, which could have gone in instead of Back for Blood or Halo, was Chivalry 2.
Oh yeah, right. Just a pure tactics.
Yeah.
Steph, any significance?
Yeah, I had Humankind on my list. Everything else was picked by you guys, I think. I had a big question mark next to Hogwarts Legacy, which I think will be.
It got pushed to
It
next
did?
year, so good
Oh,
choice.
okay, cool.
In fact,
I just feel like apart from the horrible stuff that's going on with J.K. Rowling right now, I feel like that kind of thing has a huge fan
Because she's
base,
horrible.
But
Not we're worried about. Oh, it's happening to her.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
oh yeah, no,
Sorry.
the gross stuff that's surrounding her as a person. But yeah, I feel like those games. It looks like the best version of a tie-in game
Yeah.
that I've seen, but like it also could just be really schlocky and terrible.
If you had picked it, I was going to say you need to repick because it's confirmed for 2020.
Oh yeah,
no doubt.
okay, cool.
Gus, do you have any?
Yeah, I got a couple. I mean, my hopeful that will definitely not come out this year unless it does some like triple trailer drop, a gameplay, and then suddenly comes out before Christmas. And again, won't come out because the person working as part of it is famous for not releasing things when they say they will. Peter?
I had
I reckon I
Pokemon
know.
Snap,
Elden
no?
Ring?
I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
Elden Ring was what I
Elden
was.
Ring.
Yeah.
Elden Ring, yeah, I had that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
That's
will
not coming out.
No,
that's never
definitely.
coming
But
out.
I had Pokemon Snap no release date. Is that definitely coming out this year?
Not definitely, but it is like likely to. And Nintendo
shown-
don't particularly
They
like
tend to not
push
push too
games
much,
back.
yeah.
so-
Totally.
Right,
Whereas
yeah,
I think
okay.
we're still on that first cinematic trailer for Elden Ring, so no hope of that coming out this year.
57% of people think I'm going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
You were
got
very, you were very strategic until you picked
I
Halo.
believe so.
Yeah.
And the only other ones I had on there, Far Cry 6, of course. Rider Republic on Ubisoft.
Yeah,
I think it'll be
interesting.
like a messy, middle-of-the-range game.
Yeah.
It's like, it could be dumb fun and could just like make a lot of people
Pokemon
happy.
is April, confirmed.
Oh, there you
I'm
go.
sure I checked that, but I
A game I want to be better than I know it will be is Lord of the Rings Golem. I think the game
Yeah,
itself
right.
looks pretty
Yeah.
just toned back and not actually that interesting, but I love the world and everything. So
I had Chorus as well, but I don't have any confirmed release date for that. Is that
I
so?
haven't
that
seen
one?
any confirmed stuff.
I'll show you the trailer. It looks
Sure.
awesome.
And I think that was everything I had that wasn't picked next to that.
Sable.
Elden Ring was going to
Diablo
be a
4.
wild card pick for
Yeah,
me
yeah,
at
yeah.
5 to go.
When's Overwatch 2
It could
coming
come out.
Overwatch 2's been pushed.
yeah, 2022,
2022.
Diablo 4.
So that
The only one that hasn't been mentioned at all that I had on here, because the rest of them we've gone through, Returnal. That sort of like
Yeah.
time loop one where you're trying to escape a space.
Time loop games that always do really, really well. They're going to be 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But
for
you
sure.
didn't go with Psychonauts too?
No, I don't think that game's going to be good. I think it's one of
Yeah,
those
it's
games that's
too much-
entirely like
Yeah.
had its moment, like you said with Vampire, where you just go, there's a lot of love for that original one, but
Yep.
like for me, it looks like one of those games where it's like we've actually moved past that kind of game,
That kind
and
of
so
humor as well.
yeah, like all
Yeah.
of that is like we've moved on for it. We like it retroactively, but we don't like it proactively.
Yeah.
The last
yeah.
game I don't have enough info about personally as a person of not a fan of this, like GT7 for PlayStation, Gran Turismo 7.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
I that might rate really well. People might just absolutely go nuts for it.
Yeah.
I don't have enough
Yeah.
confidence to pick it, but that was the only one,
Yeah,
the one I
fair.
had there.
Yeah, yeah.
We should bring up the list.
I'll full screen the list
and let's
there.
have a look at that. And
that was Humankind for me because I was like, this is not a genre that I know enough about to know if this is going to be like the good one of that genre.
yeah,
So let's go down the pick order and read out our games. So it'll be Pete, Gus, Stefan, then myself.
So I picked new Pokemon Snap, Back 4 Blood, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, Total Warhammer 3, and Halo Infinite.
Solid choices.
And I chose. Oh,
Sorry, I thought we were going turn order, but let's go couch order.
That's fine. We can do a couch order. You go. No worries.
Resident Evil Village, 12 minutes. It Takes Two. Bit weird, but I think it's going to be good. Horizon Forbidden West could be terrible. Jet the Far Shore looks lovely.
Yeah,
Right.
cool.
Breath of the Wild 2. I'm just hoping that might help the game come out this year by putting it at the top of my list. Senua Saga Hellblade 2, Deathloop, what a pick, Roller Champs, and Sons of the Forest.
Love it. And then my list is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Hollow Knight, Silk Song, Open Roads, Monster Hunter Rise, and The Gunk. The thing I like about my list, and I feel like most of us, except for Pete, actually have this, all 5 of those games I'm actually really excited about. Like I'm genuinely, like I'm hoping those games are good from a personal perspective as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I feel like I've got a
nice.
solid second place in there. I'm
is,
out of the tumultuous, like possibly coming dead last or streaks ahead in first. I think I got a
Yeah,
solid.
all your games are coming out 5s.
Oh, I got a bunch of 7s in there. I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
So we will check in with our list as we go throughout the year as these games come out, and we just sort of like, we'll have our opinions of all these games because we'll definitely play them all, even Sons of the Forest now.
Commiserations when games get pushed and
Totally,
knocked
yep.
out of the running.
I can't wait to see the scoreboard with like little like cross outs or like. So we'll put the Metacritic scores up there as they come up.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be green if they're above 50 and red if they're below 50.
What's
where's
the
what
cutoff
about
point?
orange?
Like when is the score final?
We were thinking about that in terms of like within like the end of 2 weeks, I think roughly.
Yeah, we put a 2 week sort of like at the end of 2 weeks, then that's when we pick the score because if people go back and update their reviews on a game that's been out for 7 months as opposed to a game that came out a month before the end of the year. So we wanted to have like a consistent, like 2 weeks after launch, that's when the score is logged, even if it gets better or worse after that.
Yeah.
Take
Yeah.
the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then if this is something you're interested in, we saw a ton of people in the chat excited about this. Ping Argan in the Discord from the amount of enthusiasm I saw, there may need to be a couple of drafts because you just run out of games at some point. But I thoroughly recommend it. Like, I genuinely mean this, that fantasy sports adds so much fun to just the things that you already love. It adds a layer of investment in it.
I have to say thank you for introducing it to me, but with a world that I actually care about, because it is really, really fun. I just am not interested in any kind of sport.
But now, imagine that these games are actually real human beings who you, Nick, wish serious injury. And then you'll know where I am in my life right now. Where we are right now is heading into another break before we round out the evening. We'll be back.
I want to play that. I'm just going to round out the Pocket League with the Pocket League thing again. And you were on such a roll. You're on such a nice roll. But I want to see the graphic again because we're going to see it at the top and tail of these segments. And Gus put a nice little sting together. So you just hold that breath through the sting. And it was the Pocket League presented by Nitrotex. Text. Get your Tex and your Nitro in
Is anyone else seeing like a John Madden version of Pockety there?
in equal amount.
It is Pocket League Sunday. Welcome to the big
Hi.
We're having fun over here. Nick, you having fun?
Sponsors.
Anyway, here's the ad break.
That's what the end of the words.
We're playing.
LokiCat wants you to think he's a good-looking man who wistfully looks off into the distance at weddings. But what is he hiding? Not only is he not the Norse god of mischief and the rightful heir of Jotunheim, he's not even a real cat. He was born a boy. But now that boy's all grown up, and that overgrown boy loves birds.
The man likes his cockatiels.
But does he love those birds too much?
This man sleeps with birds.
And cockatiels aren't the only Australian icon he's tried to fuck. Is this flamin' galah who you want in charge of the country if he ever decided to run for political office? LokiCat, when you head to the polls this weekend, make this 9th life his last. Authorised and paid for by Nick Boy Richardson.
I saw her smile as her own sister was executed. She took pleasure from it.
Like you.
Yeah, she was also waiting for something to happen. Like, imagine how boring life back then would have been. I'm so bored, I'm gonna get my sister Mary executed. It's like the equivalent of something entertaining happening. Like watching a show. Netwitch. Ba-bum. Oh, we've gone quite mad. I broke him. I really hope Will makes a Netwitch logo. It goes on the screen.
Sorry. Oh, I didn't see that coming. Oh, that feels good at the loins.
We're so tired.
Thank you to SpazRus and to SamanthaHD for your word from our sponsors. Both fantastic. The ending there on SamanthaHD.
We love that one so much.
So much.
Yeah.
It's
Lighting,
amazing.
the angles,
Yep.
everything.
And then also thank you to Avexia, obviously, for the playback of Little Hope that you saw there.
Yep.
That one got really mad.
That's the one where we picked up momentum and were like, we went mad. We did.
We shot 4 in one day?
It was
I think
three that
three,
it
yeah.
three
Yeah,
felt like
yeah,
four. And again, I've mentioned this last week as well. Like watching them back brings me so much joy because it's like juxtaposed to how draining it was to film them.
Totally.
And a real funny one there. But yeah, thank you to Avexia. And of course, anyone who is at the
$10 tier?
$10 tier and above gets access to those Sunday afternoons, which is a full 48 hours before they go live on the YouTube channel on Tuesday evenings.
It's actually 2 days.
that makes sense.
So, and then also thanks to LokiCat, of course, for your patronage. You saw the LokiCat commercial there. A big thank you to all of our Top Stitch donors and above. I'm going to do a little just trying to remember your tag name and not just your real name as I go through the Patreon list. Reese, our newest 250 tiers. Thank you very much. We have, of course, Tim, Mason, not Nathan, Slowpunk, LokiCat, Raj, Akarash, Camo, Avexia, and Stuart, who I can't remember what your tag is, Stuart. But Stuart! Stuart, everybody! Stewie! Thank you very much to you guys for all the incredible work that you've put into basically helping us produce the show. Of course, everyone, all your donations and support is welcome. And to become a patron, head to patreon.com/backpocket. Donate whatever you can, and it's not just a donation because we'll give you stuff in return. The best tier is the $35 tier, where you get a t-shirt every 3 months of consecutive patronage. But you don't need to give us any money. You can just give us your likes and your follows on Twitch and on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/backpocket channel. What do we got coming up next week?
Well, I think you guys have a different playback that might be another week on from that.
Yeah.
That we've got to air, which is that another spooky game.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Scaredy Boys. We'll have to come up with another name for you guys.
The toughy blokes.
Yeah, the tough nuts.
the toughy bloke men.
We'll get started on that title card.
Bum, bum.
Love it. I love it.
But of course, there'll be another episode of Pocket Watch that you guys will be doing.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
For
Oh, my
WandaVision.
gosh. I just realized that we've got another episode tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. And then news Monday and Wednesday.
That's the plan. Sans Nicky Boy.
Yeah, I'm not going to
Yeah.
be here all of next week. I actually had a holiday booked for Christmas time, but then my area of Sydney got locked down thanks to COVID, and then I couldn't actually take that holiday, so we had to delay the holiday, and I'm now taking that holiday next week. So I leave on Sunday. I'll be back the following Sunday, so I'm gone for a full week. You guys are... my real fear is that everything is better. And
While the
it's-
council
Totally.
went-
We're gonna bring a snow machine in here and do like Chalet Part 2.
Okay.
I was like, what? And then I went, oh yeah, the trips I don't get a part of it.
Are you doing Blue Chair?
I don't know. Do you want the blue chair?
Not particularly.
Me!
Excellent.
Also, a reminder while we were mentioning the Patreon before, a call out that everyone, I believe it's the $5 tier and above now can do a or $10, tier.
$10 can do word from sponsor. Yeah.
Word from sponsors. So if you want to see your word, your video, your sketch, your animation, whatever it is sent in, it'll find its way into an ad break. Please send in. There is a submission form I think you can find on the Discord.
Yeah, it may not be there now, but we can put it on there.
Yeah,
oh,
we'll
no,
put
it is on there. It is
It is on
definitely
there.
on there.
And let's spam it again.
And you can find your hot creative creation sitting in one of our ad breaks as well. So get around to those as well because we love
And
them.
please, we love them so much. And they can be the simplest thing or they can be kindness. But
They can be Gus Single.
anything just captures a little bit of you guys, and we love seeing it, and everyone else loves seeing it as well.
Posting down an emu, whatever you like.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Whatever you like. We love all of it. They're little, and I've used this as an example before, but there was a period of time when Snapchat first launched that I had my Snapchat open and people would just send me things, and it was wonderful because it was like, them on their way to work or like their pets and stuff. And it was just like little snapshots of people's lives. And I just really loved that until I started getting lots of pictures of penises.
And I stopped as soon as you complained.
As soon as you said yes to the proposal.
The one with a ring on it.
You have no idea. You have no idea what I get.
I know I have no idea.
All right, well, this will
Once I got one that was just
segue perfectly into the post show, which is probably where it should go. The post show, of course, sponsored by Raj.
Sponsored by Raj. And then but to back up what those guys said, something we are becoming increasingly proud of are our ad breaks.
Yeah.
And that you guys being a part of that ad break is what makes them really special. So the more stuff that we can shove in there and make the ad breaks the best part of the show, that's fantastic. All right, we'll be back as Back Pocket next week. I won't be here, but I hope you all have an amazing week. And we'll see you in the post show for everyone who is eligible. So see you then.
We'll back it out.